Blackish is himself.
I'm Ethan.
I'm Ben.
Oh, it's time for another Redux, baby.
Oh, okay.
Ben, hit the button. Yeah!
Yes.
You know what that means? It means we're going to do another episode over again. It's time for Dark Knight Strikes Again. That's right, DK2. Get back here.
God damn it.
That's right. We're getting into it. Frank Miller's magnum opus that is The Dark Knight Strikes Again.
This is his magnum opus?
No. This book has stuck with me ever since it was released, and there are moments in it where I thought, wait a minute, is Frank Miller a secret genius? So I thought, well, we have to go back to when it was revealed to all that Frank Miller lost it. And
Lost his goddamn mind.
so that,
Like,
yeah,
undeniably.
by the time All-Star Batman and Robin the Boy Wonder came out, people were like, well, I think we all know what we can expect from this. They were wrong.
Right, it was
we were
totally
all wrong.
different,
It was
yeah.
but in a very similar kind of fashion.
Right.
But
There's crazy old Frank again.
yeah, but I went back and I reread it, and I did a little bit of research thanks to our pals over at Wizard Magazine. I also picked up the Absolute Edition so that we could look at it, but big.
So you gave DC a whole lot of money for this book.
Yeah, too much money, you might say, because I paid for this.
Yeah.
At all.
Yes.
But I'm here to tell you that having revisited Dark Knight Strikes Again with the eyes of a person living in the year 2024, this book sucks.
It is
No.
still crappy.
But maybe there are some points to be had. So let's talk a little bit about this book and the formation of it.
Do you think that's the case because of the year, because of what's happened, or because you're older?
Right. No.
And you were looking at things more like an older person, like Frank was older when he wrote this.
He was, yes. And in fact, Dark Knight Strikes Again, the magnum opus, the true, actual tome, came out in 1986. And The Dark Knight Strikes Again is the sequel that came out in 2001.
Right.
And so quite a bit of time had passed between those two stories. Frank Miller was admittedly a different person, or at the very least, ideologically speaking, he was a different person between then and also then. But in fact, in 1996, Frank Miller was looking to do a sequel to The Dark Knight Returns. And in fact, went to DC and hunted them down at San Diego Comic-Con to tell then editor Archie Goodwin that he was interested. Archie unfortunately fell under bad health and then eventually passed away, and Denny O'Neil superseded him, and as a result, Frank Miller was not going to be making any Batman books because Frank and Denny did not see eye to eye. There's a lot of reasons why. Most of them are speculative at best, that suggested that Frank Miller resented Denny O'Neil for any claims that he may have influenced him in any way and whatnot. Interestingly enough, the whole thing is spearheaded by then editor of Batman Comics, Bob Schreck, who was instrumental in bringing in Hollywood talent to comic books in DC. He brought Kevin Smith to Green Arrow. He actually worked with him back on the Clerks comic book series at Oni Press, which Schreck pioneered. Oni Press is just a smaller imprint. So Schreck is now taken over at the Batman office, and in fact, when he was taking over, he was not sure if he should do it, and one of his buddies was Frank Miller, so he called him up and he's like, what do you think? And Frank teased, even then he said something to the effect of, maybe we'll do a sequel to Dark Knight while you're there. Which is like, oh, yeah, that would be nice. In preparation for Dark Knight Strikes Again, which I don't think they even knew was the title back then, it was just Dark Knight 2. But Frank had provided preliminary sketches and designs of the DC universe that he wanted to project into the world with his sequel. Because the idea was he wanted to really get into like the superheroics and the larger DC universe, not just do a Batman story. Because Dark Knight Returns is just a kind of critique / subversion of the Batman icon. And in fact, it's all pretty much thanks to the Adam West Burt Wardification of Batman. Miller was very pointedly railing against that interpretation of Batman when he did the 86 story. And then I can imagine how Moore might have felt about this book. Because Moore is very vocal and very outspoken about the infantilization of culture and how superheroes are instrumental in that fact. So I can imagine Miller regressing, artistically.
But on the other hand, it is really weird.
It's
And
weird.
maybe he'd like that.
Maybe he would. Maybe, I mean, I can imagine more.
Because it's like,
either
it is
hates
impenetrable,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
So-
he either loves it or hates it.
Yeah.
Because it's either terrible and, puts a hat on the whole enterprise.
Right, it's like derivative.
Yeah, well, and it's like, look at how
artistically bankrupt.
Yeah, like how dare you criticize Dark Knight Strikes Again when you read comic books about superheroes?
How are you a judge for
Right.
what we do?
How is that dumber than anything that happens?
Right.
I could see that being the case.
Yeah.
I don't think that Frank Miller is doing that. He makes fun of things culturally in Dark Knight Strikes Again, and I think at the bottom of the list is superheroes.
Right, yeah.
And so Frank Miller is doing these sketches, and they're coming in, and Wizard ended up printing a couple of them. We have the copy of the interview that outlines the story of Shrek bringing Miller into the fold and formulating Dark Knight and how excited everybody was. And rumor had it that Miller was paid anywhere between $1 and $2 million to make this. Now,
I buy it.
Here's the thing about that. I believe the book brought in more than $4 million. So
Wow. So
it worked out.
Right.
Like, it was absolutely worth the investment. Financially, for the people who stood to gain from it.
Right.
Not necessarily culturally or critically.
Even our mistakes teach us
That's
things.
true. It is a cautionary example. But is it a cautionary example if the lesson is, well, but I got mine? Who
Right.
cares?
Right.
There's also conjecture.
Hopefully that's not what we take away from
I
this.
guess. There's also conjecture online that says that Miller is bucking the system and sticking it to the man by drawing it so ugly and terribly.
Right.
I don't think that's the case either, but I'll leave it up to interpretation.
My assumption is he just ran out of time. Like, he underestimated, like, he forgot how long it takes to make art. He was just like, I could turn that out in like a couple of days. And
Right.
he's like, oh God, no, this is hard. That's right. There we go.
I don't think so.
I mean,
because I think they would have given him as much time as he wanted. There was no timeline about like needing to get this out.
Okay.
It wasn't like, if we don't get Dark Knight Strikes Again #1 out by December 2000, we're in the red and DC Comics is kaput. As much as we like to make fun of DC for being unprepared, I don't think they're going to be so unprepared that they're going to collapse without the sales of Dark Knight Strikes Again #1 or 2 or 3.
Is Dark Knight in this book as
It
well?
is. Yeah, it's both.
Yeah, this is both.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
insultingly
So-
collected with both of
So
them.
you can
Yeah.
compare the two.
Yeah,
you
we're talking
can.
about-
here's
It
the
is
art
night
from
and
the
day.
first.
Yep, and
And here's the
I
art
mean,
from
it's
the second.
clearly the same guy. That's
Yes.
what's so interesting.
oh yeah, no. But Miller's style also was, I'd hesitate to call it evolving, but it certainly was changing, and it was deliberately. But also it's selectively detailed. And getting back to the
Yes.
original sketches,
Yeah.
and you can see them in this collection, which is available in the comments down below if you want to buy it. The sketches are incredibly detailed. And in fact, these are the sketches that were given to DC Brass that said, like, we're doing this. And I can imagine DC Brass getting them. In fact, when it was released as a kind of tease for the whole project in Wizard Magazine, everybody was really hyped to see what Miller had planned and the art that was going to be coming out and all the ideas behind it. Like, I need you to understand that there are characters in here that are really teased up, like Martian Manhunter and The Question and this mysterious ninja-esque Batgirl. People are like, who is this Batgirl? I want you to really remember this Batgirl character because she is really important to this narrative of Dark Knight Strikes Again.
is, yeah.
But they get these sketches and they're like, okay, yeah, right. I'm getting Frank Miller, especially because Frank Miller had also been working on new sequels to Sin City, and so people knew what to expect from like new Frank Miller.
Yeah, and then someone inked it with a spray can.
Well, and that's what's interesting is that like the inking from the original 86 is done by Klaus Janson. In this,
MS Paint.
it's oh no. You need to have 2000 era Photoshop to achieve what Lynn Varley does. One of the conditions of this project is that Lynn Varley, who had done the colors on the original story, would return to do this story. And of course, modern printing, such that it was in 86, was leaps and bounds ahead of its time in the year 2000. You know, the printed page could actually hold more colors, they could print more colors, they could get more out of it. This is like
There's a lot of colors, that's for sure.
Yeah, and I don't have to I don't have to fudge it. I don't have to come up
Right.
with some approximation. I could just have what's in my mind's eye and present it on the page. Or I can click effects tool and then apply, and it'll do something neat that I've never seen before unless I'm looking at a Trapper Keeper. or a Windows screensaver.
Yeah, but they're already out of school for that. They
Exactly.
don't know.
Well, that's true. This had all the makings of a success. I mean, it's a sequel to one of the most celebrated graphic novels of all time. It's by one of the most celebrated interpreters of Batman. Frank Miller had been inundated with requests for sequels to The Dark Knight Returns.
To be fair, The Dark Knight is amazing.
It's an amazing masterpiece. I personally think it's a beloved tome that deserves the accolades it gets.
If you could have a sequel to The Dark Knight
Yeah.
that lived up to The Dark Knight.
Oh, yeah, no. I mean, listen, I was in the world at the time. I was aware of what was happening. This is my copy of Wizard. I read this article and was down. I went to Manhattan. I got a ticket to pick up the first issue at Midtown Comics, signed by Frank Miller. At the time, I was actually working in Manhattan, and so I was like, well, I'm getting up at 6 in the morning. I'll go. Yeah, I was, where I worked, it was 2 blocks away. So I had to pass it on the way to the Port Authority anyway. I just, like an innocent baby, I just walked out of work with my ticket in hand. I go to Midtown Comics, and I see the line wrapped around twice around the block. The block.
Right, for a comic.
Twice.
Yes. And you just called work and said,
No.
I'm not coming back.
I was coming from work. I said, I'm going home. And I left. I didn't get my book. I didn't get them signed.
Wow.
I didn't have 10
Thank
hours
God.
to sit there.
Right.
Or stand there.
Well, you also didn't have 10 hours to stand there until Midtown closed
Yeah.
before you got inside and Frank just left for the day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because he's not the kind of guy who's just going to like stay the whole time to make sure everyone
Frank, there's still
gets their
people in
signature.
line.
Well, but I gotta go home.
Yeah.
It's 8 o'clock. I don't know. I don't know what would have happened.
Wapner's on.
So let's jump into it. Here we go. Dark Knight Strikes Again. Here's what we got. The original one very much embraced the grid format, a lot of panel work. This one breaks that up right away. Batman's got a big splash image of his silhouetted head in the background, a bunch of little panels that punctuate what he's doing. Of course, one of the hallmarks of the original Dark Knight is that there is a Greek chorus of news pundits that are echoing what's going on in the story. And so it is with this, but it's the year 2000. It's the advent of cable news networks. There's also the burgeoning internet that has become more ubiquitous than ever before, and Miller is incorporating that into his world, though Batman does say that it's been 3 years since Dark Knight Returns.
It was already in the future, right?
sure.
So it's like, yeah, they were real close. They were real close to the internet. In the
Oh
first
yeah,
place.
no, it looked like it. So, fine. But also, obviously Dark Knight Returns is not talking just about Batman. It's talking about modern culture. It's talking about living in New York at the time.
Yeah, society's at large.
It's about everything. So this is going to be about what Frank Miller sees the world as now. I guess it wouldn't be...
One giant pop-up ad.
Sure, yeah. And I can imagine that being invasive, grotesque, and perverse, and that's what this book is. So we see these people, and of course everyone's explaining how everything's great, the stock market has never been better, everybody's making money, everybody's doing well, and that is being contradicted by Jimmy Olsen, who is now an older news pundit who's contradicting them. We can't deny the visual allegory between President Rickard and President Bush at the time. Rick Rickard...
Does he go,
He does not do the laugh, but I'm amazed by. But as the book progresses and as certain key events in culture occur, his hands become more heavy with political allegory until Donald Rumsfeld literally appears on the screen, or Ari Fleischer. He drew Ari Fleischer, which of course is a timely reference. Everyone in the comics understands. But
Timeless.
But Rick Rickard is
political
also
character.
a comic book reference to Prez from DC Comics, and it's like, oh, that's fun, and that's as deep as we get. So like, there will be moments where it's like, oh, look at that, and that's as far as we go.
Right.
Like,
It's very surface level.
Frank Miller has read DC Comics. Frank Miller is making a reference. That is all. It is not some kind of commentary on Prez or Rickard as a character. In fact, Rickard in this book isn't even a real person. The Bill of Rights has been repealed, and that we are at peace because we destroyed every nation that disagreed with us, and we are all well-paid slaves. Cell phones are not as prevalent in this as they would become, but they are referenced. But like, I don't think Miller could have seen
how ubiquitous.
how
it would
ubiquitous
become,
cell
or the
phones have become.
smartphones. Period.
Right, smartphones at all.
Yeah.
But you could imagine, if you wanted to reinterpret this work, that most of the internet stuff could be easily viewed through your smartphone, as opposed to it being on a
Yeah,
computer screen.
that wouldn't have been too much of a leap. I mean, that was a thing.
We don't even show people sitting at their computer terminals. Like, it's just screens.
Yeah.
And it's like, if it's a world made of screens, well, Miller was right on the money about that one.
Screens that just pop up overlapping one another in thin air.
Yeah, jockeying for your attention with like overt sexual overtones, trying to like get any element of your attention. Like, yeah, kind of nailed that.
Yeah.
And he uses like cultural touchstones that are completely irrelevant today, like news in the nude, which was an idea from like 1999. So he was like, that's a new thing that just came out that I think is going to become a thing, or at least I want to talk about it.
Right.
Or at least I want to watch it.
Certainly that. There's this naked woman on screen, for example. She's doing all these sexual innuendos. She's like, it's safe, it's legal, it's the ultimate high. Let us service you. We'll never let your stocks go flaccid at Euphoria Investments. Like, okay.
Investment company. That's
genius.
awesome.
We haven't gotten there, I think.
No, we
which is a real
haven't, which is
shame.
weird.
Yeah. Why not?
Why not there?
Why are we keeping that sacred? but Jimmy Olsen laments the lack of heroes, which is I think it's a 1 or 2 panel reference in Dark Knight Returns. You know, just being like, hey, how come
only Batman
and Superman? It's
right.
like, oh,
and
Diana
it was
went
only
back to her
Superman
people.
until Batman came back.
Exactly.
So,
yeah. But Diana went back to her people. Hal went to the stars, and that's literally it, and the rest. And so Miller wants to talk about the heroes.
Like, okay.
Oh,
all right.
good. The
You want to
rest.
know? You want to know?
Yeah.
We'll find out.
And Miller's not answering a question that he thinks you're asking. He's telling a story he wants to tell. I remember reading an interview from 2000 where he talked about how he really wanted to tell stories about these characters. Like, I want to get into seeing these heroes being heroes. And he was also complaining about how subversive superhero comics have gotten and kind of taking his own lumps about how he is to blame for that as well, or at least participating in it.
When he means subversive, like,
You know, like
what?
Like, we're seeing problems that are associated with vigilante justice in a comic book about vigilante justice. Like, what are you doing? You know?
Yeah.
And Grant Morrison would say, like,
I don't know,
why are you
bring-
even asking?
bring a little bit of realism to it?
Yeah, but oh, come on. Realism? From a guy from Krypton?
Yeah, he's
who can be
flying around there. It's not
super?
supposed to be realistic.
Or a guy, he
It's
shoots
inherently
arrows.
unrealistic.
A guy
Why
who-
would you make it realistic?
But Miller himself was saying things like, I don't want to get into, you know, like, the Flash's marriage. It's more like humanizing the heroes. As far as he's concerned, I didn't come here to worry about whether the Flash is getting divorced. I'm here to see the Flash run fast. It's a world of screens and, you know, affluence. Everyone's doing well, but no one has any freedom. And that's the point. And in that, it is a distinctly late 90s, early 2000s concept. No one can imagine a lack of prosperity.
Right.
But you can also understand how tyranny can reign. At this exact moment in history, Frank Miller is making this comic book, and George Lucas is writing the line, "This is how liberty dies," with thunderous applause. Like, we are seeing some reactions to Bush-era politics.
Yeah.
So, where do we go from here? I mean, we just set up this bombastic, thunderous opening of sexual innuendo and Jimmy Olsen being old. Well, let's go to a nebulously wet, isolated area where a bearded, emaciated man is battling for his life against insane, sea-dwelling horrors. And his internal monologue is a Frank Miller male, so it's insane, it's first person, and it is grizzled and dope. But he...
Yeah, hyper-masculine, like, dark, and, like...
And in real time. Like,
Yeah.
I do this. I
stream
do
of
that.
consciousness.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sentence fragments, just phrases. So he goes into the deep, and he fashions himself like a crude cutting tool. He engages in a battle with this giant, horrible beast with crazy tentacles and whatnot. And you can tell he's been here for some time.
Right. Is there a reason he's fighting this?
Because if he doesn't, he'll die.
Oh, so it found him? I mean,
Yes.
it looks like he goes looking for it. I don't know.
It tries to kill him with its tentacles. He cuts off a tentacle. He consumes it for sustenance. And then when he's in the middle of his meal, a suspicious red beam casts into the middle of the ocean. And so he's like, I don't know what that is, but it's the first change I've seen in years, and so I'm going to it. So when he goes to it, that's when the beast that beckoned him in his earlier adventure goes to hunt him further. And so he attacks it. And then as he's about to be killed by this horrible monster, this element falls from the beam. And that's when we recognize that this character is Ray Palmer, the Atom, and this element that has fallen is a device that allows him to shrink and grow at will, which is, of course, his original powers, which he uses to grow. And when he does, he grows larger than the beast that was about to consume him, crushes it with his hands, continues to grow until his feet touch the bottom of the ocean, ascends out of the water, and it's revealed that he's actually in a petri dish. And his technology's been used against him and made him microscopic, and he's been essentially fighting amoebas and microscopic organisms. And just to a super tiny person, those things look like giant, horrible, monstrous beasts.
Okay.
Yeah, unless you're talking about the little teddy bears.
What?
Tardigrades,
Yeah.
Water bears.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Palmer's the size of a G.I. Joe from the 80s when he is visited by a Catwoman type character. Catwoman. But no, it's Catgirl, a.k.a. Carrie Kelly. And you went, oh, wait a minute. I read in Wizard
what?
Magazine that there's a Batgirl. And I assumed wrongly that Carrie was Batgirl. But no, Bruce Wayne, age 58, because I believe he's 55 in Dark Knight Returns. It's 3 years later, so let's say he's 58. Because in the book, he also admits that he's pushing 60.
Okay.
Of course, in 1986, Frank Miller was in his 20s, and so when he made Batman 55, that was what like a 20-year-old thinks an ancient person is. But now that Frank Miller is 50s, he's like, oops. So instead of Batman being decrepit, which he would be based on how advanced in age he appeared,
had been 3 years ago.
instead it's like he's gotten younger and thinner, but balder.
Yeah, I got to get back in the game.
And he does.
I have to be Batman again.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing, is that Batman essentially, he's gotten out of the game, as a quick refresher for Dark Knight Returns, he fakes his own death and then goes subterranean. He takes the Sons of the Batman and the mutant gang, reforms them, and makes them part of his underground army of children.
Right.
And then just promises not to bother anybody again, or keep doing his brand of justice, but quieter. And Superman keeps it secret with a wink. You're like, okay, cool, whatever.
Whatever.
Sure.
Whatever, Bruce.
At least you didn't kill him. So now, having seen what Superman and the government have done in the ensuing 3 years, he's had enough. So Batman's getting back in the game, and this is, phase 1 of his master plan. Carrie Kelly is Catgirl, so he dressed his 16-year-old ward as his ex-lover.
Yeah, that's not weird.
That's not suspicious, and so...
Whoa. Catwoman was never in a cheetah suit.
Yeah,
That's
she's
true.
totally different. She's got spots.
She's got spots.
That's a very different character.
Yeah. And so in the original sketches, we also saw that Carrie Kelly looks nothing like that, but the colors would dictate otherwise. And that is when you realize that Lynn Varley is just shooting from the hip when it comes to colors and just going for it. And when I say going for it, I mean learning on the job. And I have nothing but respect for Lynn Varley's art. She certainly contributed enough to the culture to warrant that respect. But, oof.
Well, when you're adding spots, you're putting in stuff that's not there.
Yeah.
You're kind of changing the work.
Big time.
Now, you're not just enhancing it with colors.
No,
You're
now-
fundamentally altering the thing that was there.
Now, Frank and Lynn had been married at this time.
Oh.
So presumably, Lynn could at any moment just call across the desk and say, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm putting spots on.
I'm putting spots on. Or what would you envision for this? But I could also imagine it being a truly, respectful, collaborative process where Frank's like, I trust you, Lynn. Do whatever you want.
Yeah, you do your thing.
Certainly,
You're the colorist.
I have never seen Frank comment on the colors. And I've never seen Lynn Varley weigh in
Well, he
on
probably
it.
knows better.
Oh, certainly. Well, they're divorced now, so he could definitely weigh in. Frank Miller's also been given completely carte blanche to do and say whatever the hell he wants. For example, there's a lot of cursing and sexual innuendo, overt though selective. There ain't no nips in this story, which is also a far cry from Dark Knight 3: The Master Race, which Frank Miller has gone on record in saying he actually never wrote. But in that Wonder Woman, you see her nipple in it because she's breastfeeding young John, but at the same exact time, they released Batman Damned, and apparently it's okay to have that, but it's not okay to show male nudity.
Whoa, that's gross.
That is horrible, and it's offensive, and you should absolutely not do it. Pulp all the copies.
I'm sorry. Pulp them?
Yeah.
I want them destroyed.
Contact your local comic book
so
store.
they can never be read.
That's right. That's exactly what they did. And I'm sure every single comic book store complied. So, Catgirl springs into action and essentially requests that Ray shrink down smaller to the size of an aspirin, pops him into her mouth so she gets both hands, and, goes...
Ew, I don't remember that.
Yeah, he is naked as the day he was born, and he's been in that petri dish for years, so he's probably really grody. But the idea is he's smaller, I mean, he's so small that the microscopic organisms that he would have gotten, he would never have gotten because he's too small. Though he's seen the microscopic organisms, he's been fighting them with knives and shit. So there's no way he could actually get any diseases while he's in there. So actually, he's cleaner than anyone else in the regular dimension.
Until he grows up bigger, and then he gets all the stuff from the petri dish on him.
What about?
That's true, but even then, it would be like if you stepped in something. He could just shake it off.
Yeah.
Well, what about the?
Except petri dishes are harvesting bacteria.
Well, that's true. Well, some of them
they
can
could
be, but
Yeah,
this one was only
wasn't.
containing a superhero.
And some
And-
random
and a
microorganisms.
couple of microorganisms.
Selective microorganisms.
But not like a colony of them. They're not going
sure.
out of control.
Yeah.
What happened to the microorganisms that were already in his body when he shrank?
Right?
He could still get affected by those.
I assume
Oh, they were even smaller.
that, those shrank with him.
Right.
Otherwise, it's like, well, what about the blood in his system?
Right.
He would just explode.
Yeah, at what point do you shrink small enough that you can no longer breathe in the air molecules?
Yeah, let's assume he holds his breath when he does that. Because we have to. So, Catgirl busts out her awesome self-powered AI rollerblades.
Or wheelies.
They're wheelies. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she.
But they're powered, right?
They're powered. She's able to
tell them to go backwards.
tell them to go backwards or forwards, or they're self-propelling.
Yeah, by telling them to go backwards, she just pumps.
Yeah. She
Go backwards now.
She makes just sure to say "but first it," which means that she wants to go backwards, because of course this book is Billy Berserk, and he's got to make up his own crazy moon language that means that that's what children are saying.
Well, she has to say something so inane that if someone else were to say it in battle, it doesn't throw off her technology.
That's true, because it is voice activated. So she ends up on the precipice of the building. This is where we see that this book is going to look weird for the most part. This is where the colors get the most egregious. For me, it never gets worse than here, is when Carrie jumps off of the ledge. What am I seeing here?
Right.
That's
is this
that's the
building?
mental state that she's in at the moment.
Right. Yeah,
Right.
it's adrenaline. We're seeing the adrenaline in her
Right.
system.
Don't worry about where she
realize.
physically is in space
But
or
I'm-
what the objects you're looking at are.
Why wouldn't I worry about that? That's a comic book. I have to know where she is oriented.
Because this is the media visualizer from your Windows Media Player.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, instead of music,
Look, it's just
action.
shapes and colors. Just enjoy it.
Yeah, look,
Yeah.
you're high, right? Enjoy. So she jumps off.
It's not about what the things you're seeing are. It's about how they make you feel.
You know what? I would imagine that if they had their druthers, they would have said that. I assumed that maybe she set off an explosion or something that blew up past her, but no. There's no hide or hair.
And
of
what
what's
is this?
happening.
Why? What is this line?
Right, I assume that's the building, but
why is it all
why would it
jagged
be there,
looking?
and why is it more like a mountain? Anyway, she jumps off. She jumps onto what is essentially a stealth bomber, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then makes her escape. Unfortunately, while she was moving heavily, she ended up swallowing Palmer, and then making another overt sexual reference where she says, "Gross, I swallowed." But the idea of swallowing a human being makes her barf, so she throws him up, and he's freed and isn't burned to death. And so,
It's mild acid.
Yeah, I wouldn't immediately.
but he's this small.
Yeah, he's that small.
Yeah,
it's still going to take hours.
Takes hours for her stomach to
dissolve.
break stuff
All
down.
right,
It would
so-
probably start to tingle. And
It
be
would
like,
hurt a
Oh, it's
little
not
bit.
good. I should not
Look,
stay in here.
it's like after you hurl, your throat is a little sore after.
Yeah, a little sore, but my throat isn't also a tiny man. So Lana Lang, wait, I'm sorry, the text says Lana Lane, who is nobody. Lana Lang is Superman's former lover and possibly some kind of a reporter. In this, there's some kind of reporter who's also red-haired just like Lana Lang, but this one's called Lana Lane. Totally different character or a typo. Either way, they don't fix it in multiple reprintings. So Lana, LL, is reporting on this incident in which a government building was attacked by terrorists, and the president and the State Department have already issued a statement about how foreign terrorists have broken in and have taken valuable information. But then we see this hacker influencer, this Barbarella meets Elvira influencer character, who again is also overly sexualized. And she's like, yeah, that's what the news is telling you, but here's what our people got. We got the local surveillance tapes, and that looks like a cat girl. Like, oh, haven't seen that kind of activity for like 3 years.
Yeah, hasn't it been so long?
No
3 whole years.
No super heroics at all.
Yeah, that has been severely outlawed. But hey, like that ain't no foreign terrorist. I'll tell you that.
Right,
That ain't
this is a
no
cat.
guy.
They didn't mention anything about a cat person.
No.
I think that would have been important.
That would have been like at the
information.
top of the list of
Yeah.
like we were infiltrated by a cat lady. Like we're being invaded by Pandora. That's some foreign terrorists right there. So anyway, she's giving this whole spiel while Superman is reacting to it. And his internal monologue is like, "Damn you, Bruce! Like,
Right.
we had a shaky truce.
You were supposed to stay in the shadows.
You were supposed to stay in the shadows, and now you're making a mess of things all over again. Remember what I said in the last story 20 years ago? Well, here I am saying it again. I'm still a lapdog.
I haven't changed.
Right. I'm not going to question why, you would be breaking into this government lab
Well,
and
no,
what could be
I know what
important
you're
there.
doing. I know you took Ray Palmer. I have been
Oh.
negotiating his release for months. We'd almost come to terms. We were all this close. Yeah, if you'd only give me another 2 hours, I would have gotten him freed. But that's Superman. That's
Right.
Frank Miller's version of Superman.
Well, yeah, I have to play by the rules.
I was playing by the rules, and I almost got Ray Palmer freed. And I'm sure he would have been totally receptive. So, damn you. Now you've made it into a crime.
Right.
You and your big, loud, showy crime.
Right. I was so close to keeping them off of us.
Yes. So then there's a space flight that's getting out of whack. Superman has to go save it. He does. We're displaying, this is what Superman does. Superman saves
Right.
people. He does it covertly, though he is wearing his full-ass Superman costume, but he always did that in the story before, so
Right.
it's fine. And
He doesn't greet them afterwards and be like, "Hi, I'm Superman. I just
No.
saved you."
Yeah,
If
like-
you care to fill out this survey,
Exactly.
let me know how I did.
Yeah, and this iPad's going to ask you a couple of questions after.
This is a universe, just to recap, Superman's the only legal known superhero.
Yes, that's
Which
right.
makes sense because he's the only one you need anyway.
Yeah.
Also, he's under the government's thumb.
Arguably,
Well,
yes.
yeah.
Well, no, you'll find out there are 2 other heroes, but really one of them doesn't really do anything because she lives on an island of women.
Right.
And the other one is just Superman if he's not around. So Superman catches this ship. I love this moment though. And again, the thing is, it's still Frank Miller. He has iconic lines, and he has character that he infuses into these people that you're kind of like, oh. Like I love Superman catching this thing and saying, "This used to be so easy.
Just getting old.
It's getting old."
Right.
So
It's been 3
3 whole.
years.
Well, he's been doing it.
He's been getting old.
Then we find out that there's a killer asteroid that's also coming to Earth, and everyone's tracking it, and it's going to destroy everything. And of course, irony of ironies is that the asteroid was nearing Earth space, so we fired a nuke at it, and that actually ended up making the asteroid on course with Earth. And it went from being like,
Yeah, we pissed it off, and it's like, "Hey,
what are you doing? No, it just throws it off its course, but makes it into a killer asteroid as opposed to a
how is that
potentially killer
even
asteroid.
possible?"
It's just because
Well-
that's the irony we wanted to create in the story. So,
Actually, you know what? I could see it.
Right.
Earth is traveling through space. Something's going to come to us. We hit it enough, and it just slows it down a bit, where now it's actually going to collide.
yeah.
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 All right, fine.
And they do the
speeds it
same
up.
thing in Starship Troopers, where Carmen is taking the big flagship ship off course because she has some zany new cute idea of how to save time on their trip, and they end up actually on course with this massive asteroid which they bump into and smash a part of it. That may be the asteroid that actually does hit Buenos Aires. And
don't remember that
they
at
just
all.
say that the bugs fired
Oh
that
my
asteroid, but
God.
actually it was the
Well, that would make more sense than bug
bugs
monsters
controlling.
sending an asteroid through interstellar space.
Yeah.
In enough time to,
Yeah.
it would take hundreds of years.
Well, the bugs
for-
are playing the long game.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
They're also very good at
yeah. They aimed it from
dimensional.
Yeah.
Navigation.
It was dozens of light years away.
Yeah.
And they
Billions.
aimed it, 100 years ago,
Right.
so that it would hit Earth when it got here.
Yeah.
There is
Even
a
though-
brain bug, Ethan.
Yeah, even though the war has been raging for 5-10 years. So Carrie goes into the cave. She runs into Ray. She apologizes for puking, and then she reveals she's field leader. And
He's
then
also like, thank you for throwing up. Otherwise, you would have digested me.
Right.
well,
That
Ray
been
would have
worse.
found his way out of there. You know.
Yeah.
He-
Good thing I didn't have to grow inside you and blow your body to pieces.
Right, exactly. Which is something I would have done. I'm prepared
Yeah.
to do it.
And thank God I went out the in-hole. I want to go the other way.
I mean, the fact is, like, Ray could just find an exit.
Yeah, but after traveling for like miles through her intestines,
Yeah.
it's like a labyrinth.
That's true. So acquiring Ray was phase 1. Now we're going to make another acquisition in phase 2. This one is going to be much more bombastic and loud. You know, the first one was it was in your face, but it was still covert. You know, we sent Catgirl. That's
She
it.
was in our face, yes.
Yes, but like it was supposed to be kind of hush hush. This is the big loud. You know, I'm declaring war kind of move. This is
The
where
look up here move.
So Carrie gets the Bat Boys in play. This is what Batman's army is nicknamed by Carrie, which she only calls them because they hate it.
Weren't they the Sons of Gotham?
Well, they were the Sons of Batman in the original story, but even then, Batman did not sanction that
Right. They christened themselves that.
because
so
Batman defeated their leader and he became the new de facto.
Where are the
totem.
Sons of Batman? Whoa. No.
No, that's something you came up with.
yeah.
You're
calling
anything,
you
you're
something
Bat
else.
Boys.
That's which they are.
Yeah.
So
I'm not calling you Robins.
no, that's right.
No.
So while that's happening, the news in the nude reveals, you know, like the president made a statement, but something weird happened. And in the middle of the president's speech, he glitches out. Like he just completely turns into pixels, which is also just an obvious Photoshop tool that Varley uses. But in this effect, I think is actually kind of fun.
Yeah.
Because he is a computer-generated image, and so it would be fun to see him pixelated. And I like the idea that he's only pixelated for a second, and you see like what he's about to say next. That's what they typed into the computer for the president to say, because the president's also a
Right.
computer program. It's not even real.
Right. They're controlling.
No, yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. So Jimmy Olsen's like, that's it! The president's fake! If you actually, now that I think about it, like you've never seen him shake anyone's hand or kiss a baby. Like he's never actually
How
been-
did he get elected?
How did he get elected? And it's like, because that's how good his masters are. But he's like, that's it. The president's a computer-generated image, which could also be Frank Miller's lamentations of the effect of CGI on film and culture.
Oh. Maybe.
Maybe.
Or it's just an idea he had.
Or it's just a random idea.
Because he saw Back to the Future and he saw like Ronald Reagan as like a.
It's as a Max Headroom pastiche.
It's like, oh, what if the president was a computer program?
Yeah, well, and that would be great for him because it was Reagan, and he had things to say about Reagan.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I like the moment of the News in the Nude host being like, but if that's true, then who's holding the joystick? It's just a fun little like stinger moment, but then it's revealed that it's Lex Luthor, who also looks like a Frank Miller invention now. He's a
Looks
hunchback.
like Solomon Grundy.
Yeah, that's right. I guess because he's gotten so powerful and so like reclusive that he's completely let his image go. But it's also just because Frank Miller knows how to draw these kind of hulking monsters better than he does normal people. So he does. And so,
I'm a giant imposing tumor.
Yep. And so Lex Luthor like threatens to murder the technician who runs the president, and then that's the reveal. And of course they're like, we got Jimmy Olsen on a felony charge because he like bum rushed the president's image before Secret Service grabbed him. What do you want to do with him? He's like, oh, let him go. He says freedom of speech is a wonderful thing as long as no one's listening. Nobody cares.
Nobody cares
what
about him
Jimmy
anyway.
Olsen says.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we suddenly shut him up, that's going to draw attention to it.
Exactly. So then we see another character that Frank Miller could not resist using, which is the Question. Vic Sage, the Question, is essentially like a crackpot who's a conspiracy theorist, and he also is an allegory that is used in fuller effect as Rorschach in Watchmen. So maybe Frank Miller's also making fun of Watchmen in some way. It would be very razor thin. Again, like all of his allegories and references to DC characters, it's superficial. The
What
Question
hell
is here, has no face.
Happening.
And then the Question jumps, and he has like these insane things flying off of him.
It looks like he's digitized.
Yeah. And for a second, I was like, "Is this a new version of the Question?" But he takes his mask off. He's old. They call him Vic. It's the Question. He's just old. But why is he doing this? And it's then you go, "Oh, this isn't literally happening. This is just Varley screwing around with colors again." The Question jumped. Frank Miller drew a trench coat, and Varley added all this shit. And I can't deny that it isn't dynamic. But what is it?
It doesn't fit in with the story at all, and it doesn't fit with his character.
Nope. And what's worse is, I think I remember seeing this image in a preview image for this in a solicitation, and it didn't have all the shit on it because it was black and white, and it was like, a sketch, and it was just a cool image of the Question jumping. But now it's the Question like shooting crazy digital fire off of his back, which he never does again, by the way.
Oh, Neo can see him.
Maybe, maybe that is Farley trying to add some detail back in.
Right, because Miller
there
is
was
going
nothing
so
there
simple.
to work with.
Yeah.
Because this is a very simple image.
Yep.
And big, right? He made a big panel.
Yes.
And the same thing with the previous one that you noted.
Yeah, when they jumped off the ledge.
Yeah, and it's like, I'm like, but there's nothing here. What am I supposed to do with that?
Oh, yeah.
I guess I'll do some crazy lines and stuff in the background at least.
Yeah, because
Otherwise,
otherwise
it's like, you weren't supposed to make that a whole page.
no, there's no
one
way.
panel.
He was definitely doing full pages where he's like, I'm getting paid like $25,000 a page. Eat me.
Yeah,
Fill
this
in
one
the
took me
rest.
about a minute to draw.
Yeah. Well, but it took me 25 years to learn to draw it in a minute.
Right.
So,
you're getting your money's worth.
You are getting your money's worth, except that it looks like dog shit. So we see that there's an assault in this compound. The Bat Boys are deployed. They look garbage. I love the design of the Bat Boys, but this is the only image we really get of them in action, and it sucks. And it just makes
Like
me
every image in this book.
They look like the
But
old
most of
school
them. Some of them
Batman
are cool.
with
Yeah.
the giant ears.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Bat Boys and Carrie infiltrate the system. They attack the security forces. They use their doohickeys and doodads and bitbobs to save the day and beat the bad guys or whatever. So Catgirl and the Bat Boys, they infiltrate the compound. They fight the security forces. Batman's also there. You don't see him. First issue, no Batman. We've seen him in silhouette. We've had him, comment on things. We've seen his monologues, but we've never seen Batman has not appeared yet. We're like 2/3 of the way through this issue, and Batman has not actually appeared.
hell is Batman?
Where the hell is Batman? I've been waiting 20 years for friggin' Batman, and he hasn't actually
he's
appeared
pulling
in the
the
first
strings.
issue.
He's
and
the
it's
puppet master.
And you know what? That's okay. All right,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, it's gonna be
All right,
super
I'm
badass when
still
he shows
on
up.
board. I had to.
Okay. It's a little weird. It's a little weird, but
is-
Batman hasn't shown up. When he shows up,
Oh, it's gonna be
pop
awesome.
off.
I mean,
It's his book.
I am having shades of the first time I saw Phantom Menace in the theater, where I was super jazzed, and then the first thing happens, and I'm like, wait a minute. The only problem is this book does not have a Darth Maul fight scene at the end.
Right.
To trick you into thinking you had a great time. So the Bat Boys spring into action, and I can vividly remember reading this book for the first time and having that moment where I'm like, okay. But then the Bat Boys swing in, and one of them says, "Bitchin' debut Don, wicked bitchin' Rob," and I'm like, oh, Rob and Don.
who were they?
Rob and Don were mutant gang members in the original run. They were these two mutant
Do
guys.
they shiv?
They don't shiv.
They don't.
They're balls nasty, and Rob and Don. They have big signs on their shirts like "My name is Rob, my name is Don." But I love Rob and Don, and I was like, "Oh, Rob and Don became Bat Boys, nice!" Batman is behind the scenes, and he sneaks into the epicenter, the command center of this compound,
whatever this is.
But I like the idea of Batman, like a proud father, being like, "I steal a minute to watch my boys and Carrie go to work. Look at them. They used to be just a bunch of stupid teenagers, but now they have purpose.
Now they have discipline.
Yeah." There's Carrie, my Carrie. She's so amazing. She's a natural. Ray has also come along with them. You just didn't know because he was super tiny, and he jumps out of her nose. He asks, he's like, "Let me pick the hiding place this time." So he jumps onto an electron, he shrinks down to the size of an electron, hops onto it, just rides it.
Can't do that, but okay.
I mean, you can't shrink this size either.
He's the Atom.
He's the Atom. He can be
I
that
just
size.
mean it wouldn't even look that size. It wouldn't even look like that. It wouldn't be like a ball.
Well, yeah, but look, it's for
You
our
don't know
benefit.
that.
Yeah.
We don't know. So one of the Bat Boys.
That's what the models look like in science class.
I know, and
So
they're
that's
wrong.
But this is when things go crabbed because one of the Bat Boys is almost killed by a security force. Of course, the security force is using lethal force.
So are the Bat Boys. One of them fired a rocket off of its wrist.
Yes, he did.
Into a guard's face.
Yeah, but
Yeah, it was
they're
a stun
fine.
rocket.
It was a stun rocket. It's fine. But this Bat Boy loses his nerve. He grabs a gun. He shoots a dude's head off.
He's not going to be a Bat Boy when he gets back.
No,
to the cave.
he's not.
No.
Catgirl makes her way into this into their destination, while Adam also joins her through electrons and whatnot. And they meet in the middle, and they find this this mesmerizing wheel, which of course captivates Catgirl and makes her almost hypnotized. Like she's completely drawn in. Like she can't do anything else but look at it. It is about to blow, so Adam grows to size, pulls Catgirl out of the way. So it's revealed that Barry Allen, the Flash, has also been captured by Luthor and his nefarious forces, and he's been forced to run on this hamster wheel, which is used to power like a third of the country.
I was gonna say like all of LexCorp.
Yeah, it's even more than that. It's like east of the Mississippi is entirely powered by the Flash.
Sorry, Flash, you gotta stay on that wheel.
That's right. No, but he's like, damn it. Like, damn, Bruce, they'll kill Iris for this. Oh, Iris. I remember Frank Miller saying he didn't want to write about her. And indeed he doesn't, because Carrie says, yes, we have her. She misses you. She wanted me to give you this. And it's his flash ring, which contains his costume.
We have her. She's a corpse.
Yeah, we recovered her.
We have her.
We dug her up. No, by the way, we have her. She's there. We never see her.
Right. She's safe.
She's safe. And she's presumably with them, but we never see her.
Right.
Because who cares?
Right.
Barry keeps asking though, am I gonna see my wife at some point?
Oh, yeah, no, we
though?
have her. She
Yeah,
misses you.
we have her. She's
So,
safe
Yeah,
in a secure facility.
right.
And when this is all over,
You will see her again.
will see her again. In one way or another.
So Barry puts the ring on and his costume blasts out, but it's not his costume. It's a brand new design that Frank Miller made up himself.
Oh shit!
Oh, new costume alert.
It's black!
It's black, and he has like bike shorts. You know, show off those gams, because he's a runner, you see.
But then wouldn't the speed of running through the air like rip off his skin or something?
No.
I mean, it never rips off his face.
Yeah,
even though that's
exactly.
always exposed.
No,
Yeah,
trust me, he's
that's
fine. But yeah, so now he can see his extremities. Look at his arms and his legs, and he's
Right.
like, "Oh, what's this? This is not my outfit." And she's like,
Well,
"Oh,
it's your summer outfit.
right." She's like, "Oh, well, the old one was like really old," and I'm like, "That's fair."
Yeah, that's
I mean,
what they
not,
would say.
Not that I don't like the Flash costume, but like that's something that like a young person would say.
Yeah, that's what Carrie Kill would say. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
It was so 2000 and late.
So he's like, okay, so I assume Bruce has an exit strategy. And she's like, oh, yeah, right, exit strategy. Yeah, you.
Yeah, you run real fast.
And he's like, oh. So
You're the Flash, you can do anything.
And he's like, hey, Ray, you want to come? He's like, no, I don't. I'll find my own way out. I'm not riding with you. You always make me sick. So then Barry takes her to Utah.
Just overshot it.
Yeah, no, just blinking an eye. She's like, where are we? Like Mars? He's like, it's Utah. All right, I've always loved Utah. And she's like, wow.
Oh, thank God, because it was like, you're Barry. You could go to Utah anytime you wanted.
Not now. I was under the thumb of Luthor, and if I didn't do what they wanted, they'd kill Iris. But now I can run for fun again. Run for fun?
The hell kind of fun is that?
I mean, if you're the Flash, I guess it's pretty fun. So
No, that's his job.
that's true. Yeah, but you love if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. So
I like that Carrie Kelly thinks they might have gone to Mars.
I think she's making fun of it because she's never been to
Right, what
She's
is this,
only been to
Mars?
Gotham.
Yeah.
She's never been to Utah before. She's like, what is this? Might as well be Mars. It's that freaking alien to me.
Right.
So then Ray jumps onto another like he jumps onto what doesn't matter. He goes into like the phone lines and he's writing the energy in phone lines and he travels wirelessly between comm signals. Look, this is
Does he go where the phone is going?
He learned
Like
how to
the call?
skate a comm signal and travel wireless.
yeah. Like this is the things Frank Miller wants to do. He's like, look, these are superheroes. Why are you asking? What do you care? He's small. He can jump on electrons and stuff. He can presumably jump onto whatever the signals are between wireless devices. It's like whatever. It's insane, but it's also
Yeah.
like, is it more insane than having freeze breath? I mean, really?
Well, it is because like that's not how wireless communication works.
Right.
Your phone is not sending a beam of anything to another device.
No, but this
it's
one is.
broadcasting in all directions.
Yeah.
Simultaneously,
Right.
and
Well,
that
yeah.
device can pick up the part
And
of
that's
the
what
beam
he's
that
doing
went
because
toward
he's
it.
like, I need to find a random phone number, and then I catch that and I go to wherever that number is recalling.
Yeah, this is an actual landline.
But you wouldn't.
Yeah,
you
no, it's
can't
true.
tell when you're at the transmitting device
Yeah.
which direction the thing
You
is
can't,
transmitting toward it.
but Ray can.
But
because
like
he's
the
a-
phone can't. It doesn't know where it's going.
Well, how does it
Because
get
it goes
there?
in
I
every
mean,
direction.
yeah.
And a small piece of it happens to strike
Right.
the other
Yeah,
thing
so that's-
because it's broadcasting in all
and
directions.
that's the one he picks, and so he strikes that piece.
He's very good at this.
like you
Ethan.
said. See, this
But
guy
how would
gets
he
it.
know?
Ray jumps out of a guy's phone, and it's funny because the guy is like, he's essentially like an agent, he's like, oh, you need me at this meeting. I gotta do this thing. Oh, hang on, I got another call, and it's the Atom. He jumps out of his phone, and then it's revealed that like he's in San Francisco, so he's making fun of California, and the agent or whatever is also homeless. This guy is like some kind of a like business yuppie.
Yeah, he's a high-profile agent.
Yeah, and also he's homeless, and he has like a sign that says "We'll network for food." I'm like, oh man, that's some great biting political commentary right there.
Yeah, Frank just heard the word networking. He's like, that's stupid.
Well, no, Frank has worked in Hollywood before. He helped make RoboCop 2, and so he knows, the dark underbelly of Hollywood. He's seen it, and he knows to make fun of it in his comic book.
And he is right to do so.
Absolutely,
It's
people
just
eat each other alive.
It just looks crappy.
yeah.
Is all, and I can't get past it.
Exactly. So
Does it look even crappier, bigger?
it does look better, bigger.
It does look better, bigger. It looks like it was supposed to look. Like, I feel like I'm seeing it the way it was meant to be seen.
I agree. I hate to admit it.
I think it's because there are, like you point out, there are places where it is like hyper detailed.
Yes.
And instead of looking like random friggin' lines, I can actually see what it is, and I'm like, oh, that's actually like this design. This is great.
Yeah.
The pattern on the Batboy here, or this grotesque frog thing. At least I can kind of get a feel for what all these lines are for in it.
Yeah.
Whereas when it was smaller, it just you lose a little bit
lot
more. Yeah.
Especially when you're adding these garish, overt Photoshop coloring effects.
Yeah.
Because it only loses more detail.
Yeah.
Yeah, the horrible monster you're seeing is from sci-fi-geeknews.com, who is like a caricature. He's like a character. He's like a fun, presenting science to kids on TV or the internet or something.
Right.
Character.
That's actually
Morla the tortoise.
Right. He's like, let's get back to that killer asteroid. Meanwhile, getting back to that killer asteroid, Superman just takes it apart. Like, he just flies into it and starts smashing it. Superman is also revealing that there's something going on here. Like, maybe there's an actual justification for Superman being a government lapdog.
Right. It's like there's only two options.
Right.
The tyranny that we have, or something worse.
Well, and maybe there's something that matters to me that's being held at gunpoint.
Oh, his balls.
Yeah. Well, yes, that. But also why I'm letting you hold them. Because I'm Superman. I should just burn you to death with my heat vision.
Right.
Like, why would it be a problem? Besides the fact that I
can't do that. I'm Superman.
Well, I have a moral opposition to it.
Right.
Until I don't.
But I could do something else.
But like, I could do anything else.
Right.
But why do I let that happen? It's because it's almost like there's someone as a hostage that is being held over Superman that's forcing him into being this.
Crypto?
Oh, that'd be awesome. That poor dog.
Yes, you're a bad dog. See, Superman? See what you're making us do to him?
He peed in the house. So Superman calls out to Diana via telepathy because whatever.
Telepathy.
Yeah, we assume. Or a phone. It doesn't matter. All we know is they communicate with each other through their thoughts. Or through caption boxes that save us from having to do speech balloons. But Superman's in orbit and Diana's on Earth, so there's no way he was talking to her, so it has to be through mental telepathy.
It could be magical, I guess.
Yeah, sure.
But he doesn't have
He's the mascaran.
Right, exactly. So yeah, whatever. But or because
their
they love
bond
each
is
other,
just so tight.
So he calls out to her and he's like, I need to see you. And she's like, yes, anytime, anywhere. You're like, oh, that's right. Because I don't think we established in Dark Knight Returns that Superman is with Wonder Woman at all. We do now. So Carrie's reading the riot act of the Bat Boys. She's reading the names of the people who died in this skirmish and like how they didn't need to die or what happened. Like, this guy was paralyzed. This guy is dead. Like, he had this many children. Blah blah blah. And
what are you talking about? Batman paralyzes people all the time.
he used to paralyze people all the time.
All right.
But even then, like, he didn't paralyze.
No, he put them in the hospital. He put them in traction.
I believe the first guy.
Look, they'll never walk properly again. They'll still walk.
Yeah, he says he's young. He may walk.
Yeah.
So
he's paralyzed.
So he does paralyze that guy. But anyway, he's holding these children to a higher standard. I'm Batman. I had to paralyze him. That's all I know how to do. And she's like, all right, we don't kill the enemy's slaves. Like, the enemy's soldiers, they're just following orders. Like, they are not necessarily the problem here. They're carrying out orders that are aggressive, but that doesn't mean we murder them for it. They are taking their marching orders from a greater evil. And he's like, what are you doing? Who are you to give me orders? Like, I could take you down. She's like, wrong again. And she takes him down immediately and just wrecks his day and then gives him latrine duty for a month. And then, because she's a woman, she goes by the Batmobile and cries because, like, it's just such an emotional woman. And so she cries, and Batman finds her, and he's like, good soldier. Because remember when he said that 20 years ago? And then the news is talking about it now. The news is talking about costume characters because, like, we've seen them in action. The news reports the security footage from the last breakout of the Flash. Now we've seen the Atom in action. We've seen Carrie in action. We've seen the Bat Boys. We can't put a lid on this thing anymore. Meanwhile, Jimmy Olsen reports about how there was a guy named Green Lantern.
It was 3 years. They've been doing things.
Yeah, but they only seen Batman in action. In fact, no one's actually even seen Superman in action, even in Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah, and Diana stays on her island, and Flash was a generator.
Exactly.
Right.
I love there's a moment where the Naked News takes a statement from Jim Gordon, who wrote a book after Bruce Wayne died called Triumph of the Pygmies, Why We Killed Bruce Wayne, which I think is hilarious. Because obviously Gordon was not let in on the scheme, so Gordon believes that Bruce died fighting Superman. So as far as he's concerned, Bruce Wayne is dead. There is no more Batman. His friend is gone, and Superman / the government killed him. But now we've seen all this stuff: Catgirl, Flashes, Atoms, Batboys, and Gordon says, "I'll tell you what's going on. The chickens are coming home to roost." No, it's not the chickens. It's the eagles that are coming, you bastards.
Also, do I have to be naked for this broadcast?
No. It's just her. It's just her, Jim.
It's okay. I
don't mind.
I'm comfortable doing it.
I'm already half
I
naked
grew up
anyway.
in the 60s.
I grew up in the 60s.
Oh God, please no.
Please no, Jim. So we see that on a old satellite, the former headquarters of the Justice League is a satellite watchtower. It's now mothballed. Nobody ever goes up there. But Superman wanted a meeting, and so Wonder Woman and Shazam / back then Captain Marvel and Superman are all there, and they're having a meeting. So we see the first time Frank Miller's drawn Wonder Woman / Diana. Obviously, she looks like a holdover from 300. Moving on.
Sure.
So Captain Marvel's here too. Obviously, Superman's sad and sulking, and he's mad, and he's just talking about how everything sucks. This is horrible. How can we keep this going? And then across their view screen or the windows, Lex Luthor appears, and he's like, "Nah, do you think you could meet here in secret? I have eyes everywhere." And that's when he reveals, I have it over on you. Maybe I'll use one of our orbiting space lasers to blow up Paradise Island, Diana, or maybe I'll go kill your sister there, Captain Marvel, or maybe, since you are a dick, Superman, and you did set up this meeting without my permission, I do have to send a message to you and also reveal who the villains are of the story. It's, of course, myself, Lex Luthor, and my evil partner, Brainiac, which may be a fun callback to an Alan Moore written story, Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow, which showcased Lex Luthor and Brainiac merged into one being.
Right.
But it could not. It's just here. The reveal is that Brainiac is involved, so Kandor is at play, and the whole thing is, Lex Luthor / Brainiac took over the U.S. government and I guess installed Ronald Reagan as president or something, all behind the scenes during Dark Knight. And the reason why Superman has been such a lapdog is because Kandor has been in their possession, and if they don't do what he says, he'll destroy the last vestige of Krypton.
Can't believe it's not Lois.
You'll see what happens to Lois.
We already did. We just forgot.
Well, yeah. Lois, it didn't happen. Superman got with Wonder Woman.
He wasn't with Lois.
Yeah. He may have been. He definitely was, but then eventually he thought the better of it.
Oh.
Lex and Brainiac select a Kryptonian family on Kandor and then kill them. That's one entire bloodline of Krypton extinguished forever. You got to do what I say all the time. Also, I'm a dick. Ha ha ha. So then everybody goes home except for Superman, who's so angry that he flies down to Earth and heads straight for the Batcave. And he's like, "Bruce, you and me are gonna have a talk." And I'm like, that would maybe sound badass if it didn't come from this flaccid depiction of Superman this entire time. But also
So hot we have to blur it out.
Clark arrives, smashing into the giant penny. And it's
No, my penny!
I kind of love the image of Superman smashing into the penny and
Yeah.
breaking it in
Yeah,
half.
that's pretty cool.
Batman sicks his giant robot dinosaur on Superman and then sends a robot version of Bizarro to attack him. While he is disoriented from his fight with Bizarro, the Flash shows up and he's like, hey buddy, let me show you faster than a speeding bullet. He throws a whole bunch of landmines onto Superman, which all blow up. And Superman's like, bah. The image of Flash getting the mines and then them being on Superman is such a brilliant depiction of his speed.
Yeah.
I'm so angry it's in this book. I love it. We're talking 24 years here from its release.
Well, he's flipping through them like cards too.
This is, yeah. Boom.
And then just they're on
They're
him.
on
in the next
him.
panel.
I'm so angry that this has essentially influenced how I visualize the Flash's speed. This book is so terrible and so influential.
Yeah, it is brilliant to just cut to the result of Flash's action. Like it happened faster than you can even like conceptualize.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's faster than Superman
Yeah.
could realize.
Superman
Yes.
couldn't react to it.
Yeah. So Batman, meanwhile, is taunting him off screen. No Batman. The issue's almost over. Where the hell is Batman? Batman's making fun of him. He drops a whole bunch of rock from the cave onto Superman. Superman eventually crawls his way out where he faces Ollie, who is doing an old favorite, firing a kryptonite arrow at Superman. Oh, I remember when he did that in the
Not
last
again!
book. Not again! Superman, this time he's learned his lesson. He fires his heat vision at it, which of course detonates the napalm kryptonite at him, enveloping Superman in kryptonite and
See,
heat.
I knew that you wouldn't trust it this time.
That's right. Because Superman caught it last time and it exploded. This time he fires heat vision at it and it exploded. So anyway, Superman's now covered in, kryptonite napalm, and he's just like, ah! And then the atom jumps into his ear and bounces around, throwing off his equilibrium. And then Batman walks in. And Superman says, Bruce, I just want to talk.
No, you came in here destroying my penny.
You broke my penny.
You didn't want to talk.
So it's Batman punches Superman for 4 pages, wearing giant kryptonite gloves. Also, this is the first time we're seeing new Frank Miller's design for Batman, and let's just say young Sal was disappointed.
Well, you mean because you got through all this and you're just like, okay, well, there's one hope left for this book, and it's the design of Batman. Oh, yeah.
Oh no, that's not fun. And he says, I'm done talking, now get out of my cave. And it's like, that was not awesome. Oh.
He looks weird.
Yes. I was like, oh, that's not cool. Look at
We're
that.
giving him sexy lips.
The reception of the book was tepid. A lot of fanfare, a lot of hype around it, but people were already quick to judge it. They were like, oh,
You don't say.
Well, that was weird.
that was weird, what I just read, and not terribly satisfying. So then we cut to the Daily Planet magazine. Superhero chic, how far will it go? I love this. I think this is an amazing image of Superman's logo pasted onto the ass of a naked woman. I don't think it's not something that I'm like that gets me going, but it's just
It's clever.
what? Yeah, and I can imagine
That's
also
what we think of Superman right now.
Right, I can
We
see-
wipe our ass with him.
I can see DC Comics being like, I really don't want to print this.
Yeah. Yeah.
We are still almost 20 years away from pulping books that barely show an enshadowed penis of Batman in a book deliberately designed for adults. But we're going to put Superman's logo on our ass.
I love this too because it's like the Daily Planet magazine. Like the newspaper has become a magazine.
Yes. Yeah, it
which
doesn't
is
come out every day. It's every
and
month or
it's
something.
like visually driven instead of content story writing driven.
Yeah, this is how far the Daily Planet has fallen.
Yeah.
So, also, you may not remember this, but there was this band called the Dixie Chicks. And the Dixie Chicks were known for their country music and, simple down-home, folksy content when they suddenly decided to share their opinions about politics. And it was met with surprising reactions from their fan base. So Frank Miller noticed that and made the Super Chicks, who were influencers. They are straight up online personalities, pre any of that, they're women who are hypersexual, of course, because they're a woman in a Frank Miller book.
Right.
And they have they've taken on identities of super characters.
That's not the same woman as before, Barbarella?
No. This is Black Canary. But not
The
Dinah
Black
Lance
Canary,
Black Canary.
yeah.
This is new chick dressing like Black Canary, taking on the new name of Black Canary. She's part of
The
a
old
group-
name, Black Canary.
Yeah, that's true. But now it's new for her. And so she has joined up with Wonder Chick, Black Canary, Wonder Chick, and Bat Chick. And those three are now... And they keep calling them a band. But, of course, they have no musical instruments. They never sing at all in the series. And...
Well, Robin Hood had a merry band. I didn't hear them playing music.
And not that kind of band. But they put on concerts and stuff. But they have websites, superchicksrule.com. You can go there and what? Buy their merch, I guess. See what they have to say.
Well, it
Watch
says
us
chat
live.
live. It says chat live. You can chat with them. You can be in a chat room
And I
with
know
them.
you can't. That's so funny because they talk about I've talked to her and I'm like, this is OnlyFans.
Yeah.
This is these are high profile OnlyFans characters. This is what the zeitgeist has produced as a result of the superheroes coming back on the scene in a big showy anti-establishment way. They're billed as a girl rock band.
Okay.
Right. So that you know that it's the Dixie Chicks.
Yes.
Not because they are obviously a band, which they are obviously not.
Yeah. Because even Josie and the Pussycats carry instruments. And these news pundits are, again, this is a thing. Like Frank Miller's I invented this concept of using news people to comment on the goings on of the comic book and stuff like that. It's
It's going to happen all the time.
yeah, and it's also happening in real time in real life on my TV right now at cable news.
Yeah.
So look at that. And so they're just talking about how this is the result of heroes returning is women debasing themselves and dressing up like this. It's you come on after the naked news. Meanwhile, the president has issued an executive order banning the super chicks because we want to stifle that whole superhero tights crowd. But why? People are so upset. They're like, wait, why though?
Why are there cartoon characters in this book?
So the cartoon characters are what real people are. Every regular person who has no show or celebrity or powers is depicted as a Far Side Gary Larson-esque caricature of what human beings are supposed to look like. I don't know what that's supposed to say. Why Jimmy Olsen looks more like a human being than these regular people, but they all look like caricatures. And it's deliberate, and it must mean something.
Who could say what?
So, Dark Knight 2 #1 comes out December 2000. This issue comes out early 2001. And so, Batman, of course, takes his plane and flies it into a building.
Oh, no.
But don't worry, it's Lex Luthor's building.
Yeah.
And this has no historical significance whatsoever yet, but give it a couple of months.
Jeez.
To be fair, Batman's vehicles fly into a lot of buildings.
Yeah.
Plenty of times.
You mean like in Batman and Batman Forever?
Sure.
Yeah, I mean,
But,
it's like
the
an action
Batmobile
trope
smashes
of
through
things
stuff.
driving through, cars driving through walls. This is a plane, a little different.
Plane.
It's a plane with wheels.
It's a
the
plane
Batmobile-
car.
It's the Batmobile that turns into a plane.
Yeah.
But also, Batman.
It also
calls
doesn't blow the building up.
It does not. Well, listen. What are you referring to? Because he's only referring to Batman striking terror, essentially being a terrorist. And remember, this is April 2001.
Yeah.
I love Carrie having this wrist-mounted batarang firer that fires an impossible amount of batarangs. It just vomits batarangs at people.
They would shatter people or tear them to shreds.
Yeah,
just shreds you say.
How would
just
you?
shreds you say.
How would you not? How would you know that you aren't going to kill one of these people?
Right. Well, I think Batman's done with that.
Really? Because he seemed really upset when they killed someone.
Carrie was.
Whoa! I'm really upset that you killed someone with a gun.
Yeah, that's the problem. So then Batman punches all the molars out of this man's face.
Nice.
Just but Batman's like, oh God, I love my job. This doesn't get any better than this.
God, I forget the sound of teeth hitting the floor. It's so nice.
So wonderful. It's like music. So he whips out his cape and he cuts a man in the stomach. Of course, Frank Miller also doesn't miss an opportunity to make some biting political commentary. There is the Secretary of State whose last name is Exxon. There is a 4-star general whose last name is Starbucks. So, these guys are getting it. And also, eat that, corporate America. I see you.
Right.
Batman kicks Luthor in the face, knocking out a tooth, and then tells him, like, I've taken you down. And then he takes his cape and he draws a Z in Lex Luthor's face. Zorro.
For Zorro?
Oh.
That's what inspired him.
Because yeah. Okay.
Carrie's commentary,
Yeah, that's
by the way,
true.
is like, why it's a Z, I can't guess. It must mean something to him.
Maybe he was
something
napping or
old.
something. I don't know.
I love Batman not telling her.
That's great. But why? He's never done it before. Why is he doing this now?
Right.
Maybe because he's getting senile and he's
sentimental.
forgetting what year it is.
Probably. And then they leave. Like, Batman shows up, he beats the shit out of some people, he tells Lex Luthor it's over, even though he hasn't taken down anything. He deletes a couple of, like, databases.
Yeah,
That's
he says
it.
he deleted some files.
Yeah, and he wants
and
to
the
scare him.
backups.
Yeah.
Also, I'm going to take all these teeth that I knocked out, and I'm going to replace the tooth that I knocked out of you with one of his.
Oh.
Right. Oh, God.
You're going to have someone else's tooth in
No,
your mouth.
I'm going to collect them and I'll put them on my pillow. I'm going to get some money.
That's not how that works.
I think it's exactly how it works.
No.
So does he know that Lex has Candor?
No.
Does he do any? Okay.
He does not know
He does
about
not
Candor.
know that. What did he do with Superman?
He beat the shit out of him.
And then what?
And then he kicked him out. That's it.
Right. So he did what he said, which is he kicked him out. I'm not listening to you.
Yeah, you'll see right now.
Okay.
Can you imagine your parents' reaction if you just had a
Just
pile of teeth
Uh-huh.
under your pillow one day?
like, where'd this come from? Never mind that.
Never mind that. Where's my money?
My question is,
no!
where's the money?
Where did these teeth come from?
Here's where we throw it all away, because, like, superheroes are a myth. It's been so long. But also, Elongated Man is a spokesperson on TV.
Well, he's like a mutant.
Right. He's
He's not a
freak.
superhero.
Yeah, he used to be. He's the elongated
No one
man.
can remember that shit.
But I could see a man stretching impossibly on television.
Yeah, like a freak.
Horribly.
That's scary.
He doesn't save people though.
No.
That's lame.
So Flash recovers the elongated man while Diana goes to where the Fortress of Solitude used to be before Brainiac and Luthor destroyed it with their space lasers. And Superman is there and he's sad and he's sulking. He's just like,
And he's ugly.
yeah, I'm gonna die. It's over for me. It's all. Laura, our daughter, how is she? And she's like, she's fine. She's like 17 now. She misses her father. Like, she wants to meet him. He's like, no, she can't ever meet me because if my masters knew of her, they would pull her into a life of slavery. You must never let her happen. Whatever happens to me when I waste away, just swear to me. Swear that she'll never fall into their hands. I've had a good run, but it's over. And then she punches him, and she's like, damn you! This is how I know you get erections, is by having a powerful woman punch you in the face.
Oh no.
Like, where is the man who threw me down and took his Amazon prize and then filled her belly with babies? Like, oh, Jesus. That's actually not...
She doesn't say that.
She doesn't say that
but
specifically.
That is implied.
But she will say it later. And so she's like, where is that man? Where is that Superman? And apparently making out with him is like, he just grabs her hair and he goes, right here. And then he just goes, like, you can just like look at him. It's like, he just...
She's like, whoa, I wanted to see him. I didn't want his bruised face all over mine.
So
Well,
then
she does though.
they make out so hard, they blast through the ice, and then it changes Superman's costume.
Yeah.
Now he has like a classic old school S. And also his face is fixed and his suit is pristine and he's ready to go.
He just needed some loving.
And then he spends 5 pages banging the hell out of Wonder Woman.
5 full-page
I have
splashes.
at least 5 pages of massive sky sex, which DC had absolutely no problem paying $1 million to have. In the meantime, over at Green Arrow, Kevin Smith wants a character to call Oliver Queen an old fart. And DC said, we can never have a DC comic book have the word fart in it. And Kevin Smith said, but what about the 5-page sky sex scene?
There's
said-
no farts in that.
First of all, you're not getting paid the same amount. Secondly, that's a different kind of book. And thirdly, shut the fuck up. How about that?
How about that, Jay?
Look, if you're gonna insult me, at least get the fucking character right.
We wish you'd be Silent Bob right now.
Oh shit!
Oh,
Oh, he got you good.
fucker.
Get the fuck out of the office.
Get out.
Wow, DC's just a bunch of bullies.
Yep. And then we have an Austin Powers-esque sequence where like a giant ocean of cum, a tidal wave blasts and volcanoes are erupting and trains are going into.
It blasts and a freaking aircraft carrier is destroyed because of it.
That's how hard they were fucking.
That's not good.
They caused
a lot of people
waves.
died. Thousands of people
Thousands
are in
dead.
aircraft carriers.
Look at those jets.
Don't worry, I'm pretty sure I brought one more back into this world.
He does. She even says it. He bangs her so hard that she instantly knows that she's pregnant. And then Lex Luthor appears, who cares how, just on a big screen of nothing because they're in the middle of the Arctic, and he's like, ahem. I'm like, all right.
Don't stop on account of me.
And by the way, he has a big fucking Z on his face. And at no point does Superman go,
hey,
what's with the Z? Like, nope.
No, he's like,
that'd be awesome.
Bruce.
And he's like, listen, there's a big thing. No, he doesn't even, like, you'd think Superman would be like, Bruce. But he doesn't know. He doesn't draw any parallels. But anyway, Lex is like, yeah, there's a big problem. You got to deal with it. Billions in peril. You know how it is. Just get to work. Like, and this is where things get really like off the rails because like things will start to happen, and they happen, and characters refer to them, and Miller knows exactly what's happening because he thought of it, but he didn't draw it, and so they'll just happen, and you'll go, well, did I miss something here? There's not a lot of pages.
Yeah.
But we see that like apparently an extraterrestrial intelligence has made contact with planet Earth, and Lex Luthor needs Superman to get involved because it's an aggressor. And they sent a signal and they blow up this like civilian who also looks like a Muppet. And and meanwhile, all the heroes who are at Bruce's place, you know, they're working on their thing. They're like, Bruce, what's the plan for the alien invasion? And he's like, we're going to Arkham. And they're like, that's not aliens. And he's like, who cares?
Who cares about stupid aliens? I don't watch the X-Files.
Right. Yeah. And they're like, he knows something. And Batman says to himself, like, don't sprint off into a run. Don't start laughing. Don't let on that you're having such a great time. Like, keep it stoic and dark. And I'm like, but what do you know?
Don't love what you do.
Right. And also, like, but they keep asking about the aliens. Presumably, that's the implication that Batman knows who the aliens are. Or he is in some way aware of, like, what the plan is here. But he doesn't. I mean, and he's not playing with it whatsoever.
We've dealt with aliens before. There's freaking Martian Manhunter.
Yeah, these guys blew
No, but
up.
this is an invasion.
This is an invasion. So.
Oh no, is it invasion?
Exclamation point. So the spaceship appears like right outside orbit, and it's a giant robot frog. And Superman's like, "Hi, I'm Superman. Stop!" And the frog hits him with a laser blast, and he says it tickles. This causes Superman to then get hit again with an even more powerful laser blast, which sends him back to Earth. And I love the image, by the way. Superman falls and he lands in, like, you know, on the pavement, and this woman goes, "Look up in the skies! Oh shit!" You got me there.
Yeah,
and then
good.
almost crushes her when he lands. Now, if of course this is Garth Ennis, he would have blasted her in a million pieces and would have covered in her offal.
Right.
But instead, he then comes back to his feet, and this is the moment where like everyone's like, oh, like Superman exists.
Oh, that's right. They don't know about him.
Yeah, and he's alive and he's here. Oh my God, like we're saved. Meanwhile, Batman, Elongated Man, and Catgirl are going into Arkham Asylum because they have something there that he needs. He admits in his internal monologue that like essentially what happened was like there was a big riot 5 years ago where the inmates at Arkham took over and they stole, you know, and they kidnapped like the security forces and like the sociology class that was there. Presumably the Arkham inmates eat everyone who was a hostage at some point. And Batman says that was 5 years ago. So they must be down to the cockroaches and each other. Oh, also, this is one of my favorite images in the book. Is the silhouette of Batman, Catgirl, and Elongated Man like scaling the side of a building.
Yeah, because it's a silhouette, so the fact that it's like really simple doesn't like hurt it.
Well, and one of the most iconic images from Dark Knight Returns is a silhouette as well.
Yeah.
Never mind the fact that we're also evoking an image from the very interpretation of Batman that you hated and wanted to circumvent in your tome, Dark Knight Returns. It's Batman and Robin scaling the side of a building with characters reaching out from the windows. That's what Adam West and Burt Ward used to do all the time.
Yeah.
Yes.
What are you doing? But you're also perverting it by making it into a bunch of evil, insane cannibals who are trying to get at him.
Right.
Ha ha ha!
Even I can make something stupid look cool.
Yeah, because he will also talk about how he's not going to mince words when it comes to his opinion of Adam West and Burt Ward's Batman and Robin. Let's put it that way. Meanwhile, Superman's getting the crap knocked out of him by aliens, and then we see that what's actually in the depths, the bowels of Arkham Asylum, and maybe why Lex and Brainiac didn't want Superman in Arkham in the first place, it's Plastic Man encased in a giant egg, held under pressure by hydraulic pipes. And so they free him, and he explodes out of there
And he hatches.
Yeah, he hatches in a fit of rage and insanity. And this is presumably why Elongated Man is there, because then Elongated Man could contain him using his stretchiness. Because of course, this is where Catgirl reveals that Plastic Man can do anything. He is so immeasurably powerful and insane, he could kill us all. And I'm like, what? What a weird interpretation of Plastic Man.
I could turn into a giant A-bomb and blow us all
But
up.
he can't.
Does he explain how?
Just that he can be anything and he's unstoppable. You can't kill him. And he can make himself into anything.
Well, but he
can't be a bomb. He can't explode.
And you can put him into an egg and
turn
compress
himself into
him
a
with
car?
hydraulics.
Yeah, but I guess only if you. I guess presumably Superman must have tricked him. He needed to be lured into a position where he could be, snuck up on.
Okay. I mean, can he get is it that he can get infinitely wide so he can just smother everybody?
Yeah, I mean
and you can't kill him, so it doesn't matter what you do. He's just unstoppable.
Well,
And even if it would take him all, if it would take him 100 years, but he could kill every man, woman, and child on the planet.
Yeah. I mean,
eventually.
isn't that it's only limited by your imagination what Plastic Man could do.
Right.
So Batman punches him around a little bit. He's like, "Oh, thank you for knocking some sense into me, Batman. What's the job? Let's go." So he becomes a hot air balloon, and everybody gets inside of him and then leaves. And that's when we reveal the new antagonist of the story, the Joker.
Right.
No.
The new old antagonist.
Yes, Joker's here, and I guess galvanized by their resurgence of superheroes, this lame-ass character that I have no regard for, and I remember vividly from the 90s, Guardian, decides to get back into the saddle and become Guardian, only to be murdered by this Joker ripoff.
Right. So who is this Joker?
You'll see. Let's
Okay.
hang on to
Oh, I remember who it is. I remember. This is when I got real bad.
Let's just say that the Joker in this story dresses up as teen sidekicks until he also dresses as Mixus Pitlick. But that's when...
Accepting that,
it's
all on
it's
theme.
It's all
Yeah.
young teenage sidekicks or young teenage superheroes, because he also dresses up as a Marvel character later. Joker shoots Guardian in the face and goes, "Oh, but if I'm not Joker, then whoever could I be? Oh, what an interesting mystery we're crafting 2/3 of the way through 2/3 of our story."
Yeah,
Even though you were just introduced to me.
Yeah.
where you been the whole book? Have you been behind the scenes, pulling the strings?
Yeah.
Or just doing nothing that mattered until just the
That one. So the president addresses the nation and keeps glitching out, and everyone's it's all coming apart.
Right.
They're like, "Oh, send the president, make a statement." It's like, and they're like, "Ah, damn it."
Oh, we don't have the bandwidth for this.
Yeah, right? We don't have high-speed broadband T1 lines installed in our house. So the frog smashes Superman around and then reveals that he's Brainiac, and he's like, "Nah, I'm a frog monster, and I'm Brainiac." The deal is, the superhero tights thing has it's become untenable, and so we need to send a message. And so what we're doing is we're cashing you in. We pulled you out of retirement. We made you reveal to everybody, and now you're going to get the crap kicked out of you. And if you run away, we're going to kill Kandor. If you stay here and get the shit kicked out of you, we won't. Okay, that's the new deal. And we're probably going to kill you too.
Oh, this new deal sucks.
But also, Batman knows, this is his secret that he's keeping, and I'm like, there's no way that was the whole thing, is that this is actually a big public display to get the attention of Batman to lure him and his band out.
Right, because if Superman's getting the crap beat out of him,
Then the heroes
the
will
other
go and
heroes
help
need
him.
to come out and help reform the Justice League.
Yes.
Because they can't
I love it if
resist.
Batman was like, nope.
Nope. That's right. Nope. I think I'm going to get Plastic Man. It's like, dude, we're in chapter 2. We're halfway through chapter 2. You're not still building the band.
No,
All right?
I am, though.
Nah, but I was still doing that. So then Superman has a big triumphant moment where he says, "I will not flee, nor will I fight. Do your worst." And so for the rest of the book, Brainiac will smash Superman around while he just flops around letting him do that.
Oh, looks like he's taking some buildings down.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Frank may regret that by chapter 3. Grabbing buildings and like smashing them against Superman and like just killing thousands of people. By the way, we also have constant updates from the news and from people that thousands of people are dying and there's blood everywhere. We don't see any of that because that would be gratuitous. But not 5 pages of Sky Sex. But yeah, these characters are like, oh my God, I'm dying. I can't find my wife. Like, there's blood everywhere. And I'm like, it's a little bit toothless when Muppets are saying it. You know, it's one thing if, it's like, if you're drawing like a kind of interpreted Jack Kirby-inspired Frank Miller design versus Fraggle Rock. Like Gobo and Red are like, oh no, my child!
I can draw some faces.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus, Frank, what are these?
Yeah. And also, just so you know, it's serious.
Yeah.
Discarded doll. But it's also literally a reference to the movie The Battleship Potemkin with the steps.
Wait, he's letting it happen because, I don't know, he's being forced to make an impossible choice, I guess.
So he's like, I choose nothing.
The only way to win is not to play.
Yeah. And just like Flynn, he's wrong. And so meanwhile, Barry is screaming at Bruce like, we gotta go do something! And he's like, no, dude, that's exactly what they want us to do. And he's like, also, you know, you are gonna lose a few. It's a war. And Barry like keeps switching the argument. You know, he's like, "Oh, of course, war. Yeah, you love getting children involved in your war." And he's like, "All right, yeah, that's right. Wars have always been fought by children. Get used to it." And then and Carrie's trying to get their attention because, of course, like there is another military strike being pulled that is codenamed Thanagar, and that catches both their attention. And so Barry leaves, and he
Hey, old guys.
That's exactly what that is.
Yep.
So Barry goes to an area in the rainforest where there are dinosaurs and everything's on fire and there's like lots of death. And he's like, hey, Bruce, you better get down here. So then Batman and Catgirl spring into action. Meanwhile, Joker dressed like Spider-Man kills the Creeper because Steve Ditko created Spider-Man and the Creeper. And so that's...
What?
And Spider-Man, when he was first created by Ditko, was a teenager, so...
What? There's a lot of random things starting to happen.
Miller's starting to realize he only has one more book left.
Yeah. Starting to lose the thread of the plot here. I got dinosaurs.
You got dinosaurs, you got Spider-Man, you got the Joker character,
Mysterious
you
Joker
got
killing
Catgirl
people.
and Flash. And...
Oh, it's somebody who's killing superheroes.
Yeah,
Who's killing suits.
What's that going on? Uh-oh. Yeah, that's a Watchmen reference.
Another Watchmen
there,
reference, yeah.
So then, Martian Manhunter is just a straight-up Sin City character. Like, we're just, here's Marv. Oh, but it's Martian Manhunter. And he's like, yeah, and I even talk like this. And I smoke and I drink.
But Martian
and I'm at the
Manhunter
bar.
was never like
I'm
that
sorry.
at all.
No, but after you get nanobots in your brain that scramble them up and make you sad and not be able to have superpowers but still look green and gross, you turn into the Thing. Or Marv.
You smoke?
Yeah, all that too.
Yeah, you
You
smoke
light things on fire and
That's
then
right.
inhale them?
Yep.
That's right.
Yeah, because you don't give a shit anymore.
I smoke fire. The
'Cause
thing
I'm-
that could kill me, you know, the thing I'm afraid of and would get destroy me. Yeah.
Yep.
So anyway, I'm talking to the.
But these things are just so smooth. Oh.
Yeah. So he's talking to the Question because Question wants to recruit him.
Okay.
The Question is going to do something at this book. Remember when he
Yeah?
blew up into colors?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's here now, and he's talking to Martian Manhunter.
Well, thank God he's back.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Question, what are you going to do? He's like, I'm talking to the Martian Manhunter. Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. I'm talking to the Martian Manhunter. Yeah, he's talking to me. So while Superman's getting his ass kicked, Captain Marvel shows up. He's like, I'm going to start saving people now because that's the only thing I can do. Mm-hmm. So he starts like pulling people out of harm's way. Meanwhile, Superman has now been like rendered unconscious, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, Superman's dead!" Also, Frank Miller takes at least 3 different instances where he has a character say something like this: "Nobody's even tried to negotiate with the Visitor. We can't be certain it's hostile. That would be a value judgment." I'm sorry, what? Yes, I am from San Francisco. Why do you ask? He did that in Dark Knight Returns, and he does it twice in this.
Yep.
So Lara's like, "Mother, I'm ready. I'm powerful and shit, and I'm also angry, and I got
I have red eyes and shit."
Yeah, I got youthful indignance. I'm ready to go. And so she's like, "No. Let's see what your dear old mama can do with a little help from Zeus." So Wonder Woman strides atop a Pegasus and fires down, Grecian god lightning to rescue Superman. I guess. Who cares? We never see her do anything ever again until the next issue. But
I just wanted to draw that.
I just wanted to draw that. And you know what? It is a pretty spectacular image.
It just doesn't make any sense.
It just
in
doesn't
what's
matter
happening
and doesn't
in the
make any
plot.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, the horse has like Lego hand mouth.
Oh, I know. No, everybody's got that. Ollie sends an email to Batman and calls him Batfart. So Kevin Smith wants to use fart in a Green Arrow book, but can't. But Frank Miller uses fart from Green Arrow in his Batman book.
Well, that's not fart. That's Batfart.
That's a Batfart.
That's a different word.
Yeah, that's me calling you. Except literally, it's in the same context because Green Arrow's being called an old fart.
Yeah.
Like neither of them are actually talking about
He's-
flatulation.
But
Whoa! Old fart is derisive. A bad fart? We don't even know what that is.
That's powerful and
That's
awesome.
a neutral word. Also, old fart is two words, one of which is fart. Bad fart is a compound word. The word fart is technically not in this book.
That's true. Oh my God, you're right. Anyway, so Ollie's explaining like what happened. And what happened, Martian Manhunter tells the Question, like, tonight's the night I'm gonna die. I lost all my powers, but I can still see into the future a little bit, even though that was never one of my powers. So, I know that I'm going to die
I don't know. I
tonight.
never read Martian Manhunter.
That's it. I need to use. I'm going to draw a big image of Martian Manhunter as like a proof of concept to convince them to make this book, and then I'm going to not know anything about him and then kill him in 2 panels. And he's like, I'm going to die tonight, and it's going to be by fire. That's what I've always known. That's why I smoke cigarettes and stuff. So then,
I'm gonna die tonight. How do you know? I just get a feeling.
I just know because what's one of my powers?
I say that every day.
So I'm going to die tonight. And so
Every morning I'm disappointed.
they go down to the pier because it's more noirish and Sin City-like, and so that's where they need to die. And so Question and Martian Manhunter are talking while Green Arrow is watching, and then some swastikas get thrown into Martian Manhunter's back because, of course, they do, because they're going to be ninja stars, they're going to be shaped like swastikas because that's what Frank Miller does.
Right. At some point.
At some point, you're
There's
going
gonna be swastikas in
If
there.
you are going to read it, if you are reading a Frank Miller book, at some point or another, there's going to be a swastika in there.
And it's gonna fly at you and
You're
cut
just-
something off.
And
You're
it's
just gonna
gonna
have to deal with that.
And it's going to be in a completely anachronistic presentation.
Yeah, and you're gonna be like,
What?
like, why is that there?
Yeah, and you're gonna go,
What?
okay, it's unmistakably what I think it is. And it's in a position that makes no cultural sense for it to be there, which makes me think he just wanted to. It's like when Quentin Tarantino uses the N-word in his movies. And you go, I mean, so it's suspicious. It's just a head scratcher is what it is.
I think you're just trying to be provocative.
It's like, that's weird.
Yes.
Yeah.
But also, like, you've already been pretty provocative. Both artists we're referring to.
Yep.
So that,
you know what? It'll make people freak out.
yeah. Well, you know what? This is the Johnny Depp gold tooth of comic books, where he's like, let's see, or to use a larger cultural reference, these are the brown M&Ms. Right?
Right.
Where he's like, let's see if they're paying attention. I'm going to put some swastikas in here. Let's see if I get any notes back. And we know there weren't any, because in the Wizard Magazine article, they talk about getting the first script back. Reading this article here, Shrek flew through the pages. Superman, Wonder Woman, and the Martian Manhunter, the Question, DC's greatest were all there, and they all played their parts perfectly. Lies. Miller was right when he told Shrek, quote, I'm going to do my best to bring back the luster to a lot of these characters who have lost them. Lie. A few hours later, Shrek bumped into Mike Carlin in the DC halls. So, Carlin asked, what's the verdict? I had to ask Frank to change something, Shrek said. Carlin frowned. He missed a comma, Shrek said, as he walked back to his office with a smirk. Eat me.
You didn't read it.
He missed a comma.
He missed a comma. There's also a lot of other things in there, but I can't say anything because he's Frank fucking Miller.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also missed the swastika. So the Joker guy arrives, Question tries to shoot him to death, which doesn't work, and then Green Arrow fires several arrows into his neck before the Joker takes down the Question and then throws the lit gas container at Martian Manhunter, which just fires him up and reduces him to bones, but also blows up the Joker character, and he also is enveloped in flames and burns up. So at least he's dead too.
Thank goodness.
But Green Arrow did get the Question free, and so at least I did that much. So now we got the Question in our employ, but he also doesn't appear on the team. So Superman is sad. He's watching everybody go down. He's like, actually, the way in which it is depicted and written is great. Like the way that it's broken up in the lettering. My friend is downed. My limbs are heavy. My city screams. My lover falls to earth. My time is done. Like, is Superman's last thoughts before his daughter shows him and says, "Father, you are wrong," which I'm sure is like in every Frank Miller book. So Lara, aka Supergirl, like flies into action. She's got a cool suit, which is to say, it's not a suit at all. She's a silhouette wearing a Superman logo.
Right.
And so she fires into Brainiac's, like, frog form, blasting it. She shoots heat vision at it, just erupting it into a huge supernova. It's dead. It's gone.
It's croaked.
Look at how powerful she is, yes. Meanwhile, in that rainforest area, where Barry and Batman and Catgirl have gone.
Oh, right.
It turns out that, like, when the world outlawed superheroes, they sent Shira and Cater Hall. Well, actually, they tried to leave to go back to Thanagar, but their ship was taken down, so then they sought refuge in the rainforest, where they raised 2 kids. They've got a son and a daughter, and then the lasers came down and killed both of them and a bunch of their dinosaurs. And so we got 2 Thanagarian hawk people.
And they're dinosaurs?
Oh yeah, no, because like they use their Thanagarian techniques to like bring back, help to
repopulate the species.
He says, Mother used Thanagarian science and her own fertile wits to bring ancient species back to life. Why? Because dinosaurs are rad, and let's see some. So we didn't get the Hawk people, despite the fact that Frank Miller drew a fully detailed Hawkman in his preliminary sketches, which he used, of course, to justify his $1 million or $2 million salary.
Right.
But they're not in
These
it.
are the characters you're gonna get.
Up.
New Green Lanterns. Hawkman.
Actually, they're going to die in 2 panels silhouetted.
Well, you still get them.
You don't even get to see them properly. You won't even really understand these are 2 heads looking up at the sky. So, of course, the Hawk people's son is righteously angry and looking for vengeance. And Batman puts his hand on his shoulder and goes, "You're going to get what I never got. Retribution." So Brainiac, of course, is like a smaller version of himself. He flies around Lara and he's like...
Right, like a little pod shot out of
he's
the
like, "Yeah,
frog.
it's me!" And he's
I'm
like...
still alive.
I am
goes-
the central brain.
Right, and he's like, "Oh my God, Superman sucks, but I'm already like making plans about what I'm gonna do with you because like you'll have sentimental attachment to Kandor and stuff. Like you're So he's excited about that. She's like, "Oh no, you don't." And he's like, "Oh yeah, you're not gonna kill me because I'll be the death of you, monster." And he says, "Death as in killing? Oh, I think not." And you're like, "Okay, what?" Like Miller's trying to have
This
fun.
voice you're doing for him.
Just, "Oh no, I'm green and little." And he goes, "You're wearing the family crest. It's against the rules. You can't kill me." And she goes, "Yeah, I wear it, but I'm not from Kansas, you son of a bitch." Boom. Blows him up with her heat vision. And Superman shows up and he's like, heat vision's the hardest one to master. Yep. Has like strikes a dad pose.
Yeah, it's a little rough there. You might want to tone it back
Right.
next time.
Well, he's like, it's hard to do. When I was a baby, I almost burned down Pa's tool shed. He was mighty angry. But anyway.
What is this? What are you doing right now?
I'm being a dad. But he's also sad. And he says, "Lara, what sort of world have I given you?" Another version or a previous or smaller version of Brainiac goes to Lex. And he's like, "Yeah, we're not really exactly wowing him in the court of public opinion, Lex. Like there are 1,000 people in Gotham that are going to that concert. The concert. That we've never seen.
The Super Chick concert?
The Super Chicks concert. Yeah,
Oh
there's a
my
huge
God,
concert.
what?
Yeah, there's a big...
Why are we worried about that?
You'll see why. Because there's a Super Chicks concert, and it's big, and it's happening, and everyone's really excited about it, even though we've never seen anyone talk about it, except like a little bit. People are like, there is a Super Chicks concert. But now... it's like a big deal. And we've seen superheroes, and we've seen them be super heroic, we've seen them be super losers, we've seen these evil monsters and despots, and we've seen super problems that we can't fathom, that we need super solutions for. And people are like, whoa, and Metropolis was like wrecked by freaking Brainiac and stuff, and this city's in ruins a few months before 9/11. And so, it's upsetting, but it's not like tragic. It's just really, it's a problem. People are upset.
People are talking about, though, how like Superman saved them.
Right.
Because they defeated Brainiac,
but like
Frog.
he didn't.
Well, but they saw 2 super characters involved, and one of them did save them. So,
Yeah.
so they're like believing in heroes again.
Yeah.
What was the purpose of the plan by
Brainiac's
Lex
plan?
and Brainiac?
Originally, the plan was to kill Superman in front of everybody, so that like they would lose their
Right.
reverence for superheroes
And their hope and their
yes.
spark.
Yes.
Right, and he couldn't fight back because then they would destroy Kandor. But then
Then Lara showed
did
up,
fight back.
so they should destroy. But now there's a bargaining chip because now Brainiac wants Lara. and he's gonna like replace Superman with Lara.
Oh, okay. And he hasn't had a chance to explain to her the whole Kandor thing. She
No.
kind of blew him up before he could
Yeah,
do
yeah,
that.
yeah. That's right. But he assumes that Superman will bring her up to speed, and then
I
she'll
see.
acquiesce
Right.
voluntarily.
Well, he'll do the thing. He'll talk to her.
Yeah.
So the fact that like I was destroyed in that battle in front of everybody, we're not gonna worry about that.
Exactly.
Okay.
So meanwhile, Batman reveals that Carrie has come up with this plan, and Batman's like, I never would have thought of it in a million years. We're going to weaponize the Super Chicks concert and turn it into a revolution. Because there's thousands of children
Right.
who are idolizing these super characters.
Oh my God.
So then
Well,
the heroes all show
what was your
up.
plan?
What?
What was your plan, Bruce, before this?
Oh, before
I was
that?
gonna
You had
punch
one,
people.
right?
Yeah, I was gonna blow shit up and punch people, but now it's even better.
I was gonna
Awesome
build a
bat
super
tank.
team.
Yeah, I'm still building a super team. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the super team will, save the day.
Yeah.
Somehow.
Right. So
I'm gonna do stuff. I'm gonna punch Lex Luthor in the face for no reason.
yeah, or carve an S, or
Carve a Z into his face and then walk away.
and then leave,
And then
let
nothing
him
will be
do more
different.
things, and thousands
Yeah.
of people will die.
I'm just gonna let him stew in that Z.
Yeah.
But this is a plan. This is
a
great.
real plan.
This is like an idea.
And
you had like a thought.
Yeah, and it's like Frank had that idea now.
Right.
He drew it.
What were you gonna do?
Oh, who cares? Nothing.
Right.
Nothing,
I was gonna
nothing
make it
compared
up
to
as
this.
I went. I was
Yeah.
gonna vamp for 3 books.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
I didn't know, and I had no plan.
Yeah, I just figured it would, work itself out.
Yeah, so the idea is that like there's all these news people there, and there's like the National Guard or whatever has been dispatched to deal with this concert, and so they were like, we're just gonna wait until the law does something stupid. So they're gonna open fire, and that's when the heroes come in and rescue them. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then we let them see heroes, lots of heroes, and we see like everybody just spring into action, and look at them all being heroic and stopping these aggressors and displaying their powers. And by the way, every time that Plastic Man uses his powers and does something awesome, it looks great. Him becoming this wrench is amazing.
Yeah, like clamping a dude with his body.
And I love it because, like, I remember reading this for the first time and, like, really not enjoying it. But getting to this point where you're seeing, like, the plan enacted. Like, the security forces are gonna fire, and then the heroes come in. A Batboy takes down one of them. Green Arrow swoops in and, like, caresses the Black Canary. It's an image you want to see. It's Black Canary and
Yeah,
Green
it's
Arrow.
just- it's not the Black Canary.
No, this girl is, like, 17, and Green Arrow's 75, but never mind that. And Plastic Man, like, yelling Rodney King while he's taking down security guys, and just Black Canary climbing on top of Green Arrow while he fires out. Like,
By the way, he's teabagging that guard.
oh yeah, look, I mean that's where the legs are.
That's his crotch.
Yeah,
100%.
He
Yeah.
knows. He knows.
Oh, yeah, he knows.
And then Ted Koppel's like, "This is extraordinary.
Plus-
What a show."
What a show.
That's what you do with a nut.
That's right. So Ollie fires his arrows, which set up the overture of horrible colors, displaying Batman's bat signal. Because of course Bruce Wayne died.
right.
Batman Bruce Wayne died.
So everyone thinks he's dead.
But now, boom, bat signal. Boom, silhouette of Batman. These are the images you were
Looks
waiting
horrible,
for.
but
Yeah, looks horrible. But you're supposed to be inspired. It's just too bad the colors are so garish and terrible.
And the lines are way too straight.
Yeah.
yeah, and the bat logo doesn't
It's
look like
wrong.
the bat logo. And it's all blurry.
And it's all blurry.
Well, it looks more like a batarang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, oh shit, I forgot. A flashlight here, there, bat signal.
So the bat signal's there. Batman reveals himself. They're like, what the hell? Superman's there. Now Batman? And Batman rips off his mask, revealing he is Bruce Wayne. And he goes, children, pull on your tights and give them hell. And we get him doing the fist motion that he was doing on the cover of the last issue, which would have made more sense if it was synergistically put together. But no. So yeah, whoa. And you see all the crowd is like screaming, and they're just like, yeah, it's happening. Now, what does he do with this revolution? Well, 9/11 happens.
Right in the middle.
Right now.
Of this,
And Frank Miller is like, and I've already done 2/3 of the book.
Right.
Whatever I was going to do, well, I can't do that now. Because also, I've been kind of like dicking around for 2 books.
Yeah,
I've been
you
like,
have.
I've been like sloppily depicting art and like letting my wife kind of like do a lot of heavy lifting with not a lot of experience with Photoshop. And, I've been toying with the idea of like revolution and like Bush era politics, but now I've watched from my window the Twin Towers fall. I got opinions.
I got something to say.
I'm an artist.
Right.
And
People
I-
are going to expect me.
People are not only that, but like I expect myself. Like I
Yeah,
need
to
to
have
tell this
something to
story.
say, yeah.
What am I gonna do? So issue 3 opens, of course, on a distant planet full of naked green Muppet monsters.
As you do.
Naturally.
as you would, who are riding similarly green dinosaurs. Can you imagine my disappointment?
Yeah, right off the bat.
Yeah, did you see this and be like, are these more Brainiacs?
But no,
Like,
no. By
no,
this
just
point, by issue 3, I'm like, it's a lost cause. Like issue 2, I went, this sucks. Like I was, no,
and you're like, well, I guess I'll read the last.
I have to finish it.
And then you open it up.
I'm like, God damn it! It's like it was like Miller just traced a middle finger at me.
Yeah.
Because what? Like you wasted how many pages of this shit,
Frank, what is it with the frogs?
right?
What's with the frogs? Because these are frog-looking people.
I know.
And you had a frog alien,
Right, like
a
what?
different one
Yeah.
who was Brainiac in
But
the
Green
last
too.
one. What's going on?
It's Green Lantern. Hal Jordan left, fell in love with this frog monster, banged it, has a family, and he's like a farmer or something. And he's using his Green Lantern powers to look like a frog monster. Cool.
Like maybe he made a family for himself.
Yeah. Oh,
Oh,
no.
because he lost his
constructs.
mind
Yeah,
and they're
he's just
all
lonely and
constructs?
sad. Nope, they're real. They
They're
have
real
pet
and they're frog people.
brontosauruses.
They have more dinosaurs.
I love dinosaurs.
Because have you seen Jurassic Park?
Yeah, we all
That
saw
shit
it.
looks awesome.
We saw it like 6 years ago, man. Well, have you
just
seen
can't
The
get
Lost
over it.
World?
There's even
Yes.
more.
Yeah, I saw that. It was somehow less disappointing than this. So, Batman, of course, uses his interstellar phone to call Green Lantern and go, hey, buddy, you missed a lot. And then proceeds to show like a menagerie of what's been going on in the last issue. And so Hal's like, oh, geez, I guess I ought to go do something. And his wife's like, please, honey, you that's where you were born. You deserve to, you should go. And he's like, okay, turn off your eyes. And then he makes out with her and turns back into a man and then goes into a conveniently placed wormhole to get back to Earth and save the day.
She finds humans so gross.
Right?
She said, I can't look at you when you look like that.
Please, ugh. It's like,
You gotta warn me. Tell me just to close my eyes and then I
Yeah.
don't have to see it.
yeah. And then it's 9/11.
Yeah.
Everything's covered in ash. All the buildings are exactly like they were depicted in photographs, and
Yeah.
it's just like, what?
But that's not what it was at the end of the last book.
No.
I mean, they did talk
Tonally,
about
it was not.
the destruction and whatnot.
Yeah,
but-
like Metropolis was destroyed, and
But
they
you
were
didn't
like, "Oh,"
see it.
but we didn't. Well, we saw it from the perspective of the people on the ground who were like, "Oh no!"
Right, who
But
were
now they're
talking about
dead.
it.
Now they're all dead because that was horrible. So now Superman went from having integrity and allowing himself to be sacrificed, for 2 worlds. Instead, he's horribly irresponsible and caused 9/11. We also see just a straight up image that's just a drawing of one of the beams. I'm just like, that is just, you just drew 9/11.
yeah.
And meanwhile,
How could you say that about this?
how could you draw that
How?
conclusion? Also, it's been 2 weeks. They were like 2 weeks later.
What?
What?
Why is there still like ash falling
Yeah,
from the
why
sky
is
and
it-
stuff?
More horrible and more fresh now. So Diana discovers Captain Marvel like under the rubble and he's holding up a building on his back. And she's like, oh, Billy, I found you. Like, change back into Billy. I'll get Clark and we'll get you. And he's like, I'm afraid that it doesn't work.
I'm
that
sorry.
way.
Change back into Billy?
That'll buy you some
You're-
time.
You're super right now. If you change back into Billy, you're gonna be crushed.
Maybe you're smaller. Maybe Clark can swoop in and get you. You'll be smaller. You'll be able to like slip out of the way. And right now you're holding it up. If you change, it'll cause lightning and you can snip. There's
Maybe the
some way out.
lightning will like spread
Do
out the
something.
stuff around you or free you.
Either way, it's all to say,
Or split that building in half.
right?
That's
Who
on top of
knows?
you.
But all that matters is the Captain Marvel's like, no, I don't transform into Billy. A lot of people got that wrong. Actually, I trade places with Billy, and Billy wasn't really in that much good health to begin with. He died 8 years ago. So if I say the magic word, I go on a one-way trip. And she goes, where? And he says, where does a wish go once you've made it? Where does a dream go when you've woken up? Nowhere. It's been nice existing. Give everybody my best. And she says, say the word warrior, go out to the lion's roar. And he goes, Shazam! And you see like, oh, and then,
Yeah, I remember that. That's where we get.
that's where we get, where's the wish
Where does
go?
the wish
We've been
go?
making fun of it for 10 years.
Yeah.
So So that's
Oh,
sad,
man.
and
That's
also
sad.
that happened and is incongruous to the rest of the
Yeah,
book.
it's like, wait, what? But
What?
that wasn't what was happening at the end of the last book.
Yeah. So now we're gonna check in with the concert. Remember how the concert?
Yeah, that
went?
concert.
That went great, and now it's been 2 weeks.
Right.
And-
So now what?
Well, the super chicks are breaking up because Bat Chick is like, this is a culturally significant moment in our history. We can't just be walking sexual stereotypes anymore. And Wonder Chick and Black Canary are like,
What?
what?
I'm pretty sure I can.
Like Black Canary clearly has no substance, and
What
Wonder
is she-
Chick is an idiot.
She literally says, "What's a zeitgeist?"
It sounds like a disease. But yeah, Black Canary is just like, we just want to thank our fans for leaving us so deeply gratified. So very deeply.
Oh my god.
And so yeah, they're like, oh my god, the super chicks are over. What are we gonna do? Meanwhile, Batman also didn't say enough awesome stuff previously. So let's establish that after he said, let's put on our tights and give him hell, he also said this, and then talks about taking down criminals and identifying Luthor and Brainiac and all that crap. Then,
Oh yeah, I should have said that.
No,
Let's
like,
just write that in the next
let's
book.
say that too.
And then the crowd's like, Lex Luthor, Brainiac? What are you talking about?
You know, Z-Face.
Yeah,
Oh.
he's secretly pulling the strings. You don't know about it because no
Right.
one's reporting on it. But
Yeah.
but yeah, he's actually the president.
Yeah, and he's getting advice from a frog.
From a frog, he's like an alien, like
Yeah,
robot.
he's the guy who actually trashed Metropolis. So
Don't worry, I've
then-
got a different frog man coming to help us out.
Yeah.
What?
He won't look like a frog when he gets here. Don't worry.
I
worry
think
about it.
you're a
crazy.
lunatic, and we should not follow you.
I think I gotta beat the traffic. So Lara shows up to find Superman. He's just been digging through the rubble the entire time, and eventually he discovers Ash of Lois Lane and finds her locket, which housed a picture of herself with Clark. She always loved him. And by the way, Jimmy Olsen, you know, he was a commenter throughout the entire book.
Yeah.
He died in this. He vaporized.
Oh, he was in the building.
Yeah, I guess he was in the building and he died. Perry, James, Lois.
Oh, that's weird how we didn't see like the Daily Planet get destroyed or anything.
No, and in fact, when we do a wide shot to also show you like another image from 9/11, the Daily Planet's over there. But yeah, so let's just kill Superman's entire like supporting cast. And,
Yeah.
and say that
Yep.
that's why it's so sad, you see. Because like, even though I'm just showing you 9/11 imagery, it's happening to a fake city, but you know what's going on. And you'll be sad
Yeah, but-
because I killed these fictional characters.
Don't worry though, because we haven't seen Lois the entire book.
We've never seen Lois in the entire universe. Like, she wasn't in the previous book, she's not in this book. We don't even refer to her. She
Yeah.
just dies off panel.
Yeah, but Superman's real sad though.
Yes. So then,
Superman's
Also,
so broken up, he's gonna go have more sky sex with Wonder Woman.
yeah, I got to make more people.
Also,
So-
I have to note the art is extraordinarily better.
Yes, suddenly he starts giving a shit. I don't know what might have changed, but he's putting in more effort.
It's almost like, oh, my 9/11 tribute can't look like that.
I can't do
I
that.
can't do that. Are you kidding me?
No, that would be insulting.
Oh, now I have to care.
Yeah, if I draw Superman in the middle of Ground Zero, he'd better not look like an asshole Muppet. He kind of still does, but like,
Yeah, but that's just how I draw people now.
yeah,
That's me.
that's just me.
That's just me now.
That's not me sticking it to anybody.
right.
So Lara asks who Kandor is. And Superman's like, why do you ask? And she says, the Brainiac telepathed me and told me that I have to surrender or else Kandor dies. So then he flies away with her and they have a conversation where basically she says, you know, what about sex? And he's like, what?
What?
That's
She
strictly
goes,
off the table.
I have a lot of questions, and she just word vomits like this whole thing. She's like, I've been having a lot of questions. I want to ask I've asked my mom. She told me that if I have any questions about being a Kryptonian, I should ask you. And one of the things I want to know about is sex. And he goes, never with Terrans. They're fragile. I'm like, I love Superman, raised in Kansas by two human beings, referring to human beings as Terrans. If it doesn't otherwise him and turn him into a scary monster from
Right.
space. But she goes, ugh, humans, they're fragile and stupid and puny and don't know their place. And Brian Azzarello's going to go, oh, I like that. I'm going to use that
Yeah.
in Dark Knight 3, The Master Race.
Yeah.
And Superman's like, you're very young. You don't know the poison those words contain. I'm like, oh my God, a character's behaving in character in this book.
What happened?
I'm being
Oh,
patient and understanding.
Yeah.
And I'm also teaching you a lesson.
Right. And then he's going to learn in about 3 pages that is a whole bunch of horseshit. So she says, humans, like, look at, they make a mess of things. Like, they when they're not killing each other, they're killing everybody else. Like, they're destroying their planet. You know, we should just roll in and take shit over. And Superman's like, oh, what? And make them slaves? That's what the bad guys do. And then Batman calls Superman and he goes, you're still using circular logic, Clark. Always just regurgitating what Ma and Pa told you. Remember when I told you I was done talking? Well, I lied. I'm going to retcon that the Atom put a thing in your ear that projects me out of your eyes or something, because even if we could argue that Superman could only see Batman via some kind of a brain-scrambling device, Lara can also see Batman's projection, and the projection can also affect physical objects in this space. But whatever. What matters is Batman's talking to Superman, and this is like one of the few times they're ever going to be on the same panel together. And he's like, yeah, clearly Miller did not do this, but he did now, and when Adam jumped in your ear, he put that thing in there.
Right.
Anyway... And Superman's like, go away. Like, leave me alone.
Right.
You jerk.
Like ghost of Christmas past or whatever.
Batman's like, for God's sake, man. Like, what more can they possibly do to you? What more do you have to lose? Your honor, your dignity, Metropolis, Lois. It's Kandor. They have Kandor then, don't they? And he's like, yeah, when they destroyed my fortress, they took Kandor. And he's like, well, I guess we're going to have to steal it back then. All right, well... You work for me now. You're in the Justice League. You just like question.
Yeah, you're back in.
You're back in. But from here on out, I don't want to hear a damn. We're not going to debate. We're not going to talk. You do what I tell you to do.
You treat me like your fake president.
Yes, you listen to me, and that goes double for you, young lady. You listen to me too. And she's like, "How dare you? I could find you and crush you in a second. You can't talk to me like that, and you especially can't talk to my father like that." And Superman's like, yes, he can. He is our only hope.
He does it all the time.
And we have to listen to him. And then to undermine everything he said, he's like, yeah, good, that's about right. And he starts having a heart attack. And they're like, what the crap is happening? He was, oh, it's just a power surge. They happen. I gotta go. I'll call you later. And then like he explodes.
Okay.
And she's like, oh, he's dying. And Superman's like, no, he's not. You don't know, Bruce. And she's like, no, he is dying. And
no, he's
like,
dying. No, that's a power I have.
Yeah, no, but yeah, I can hear his heartbeat or something. And Superman's like, no, trust me. Like, yes, he may be dying. He will not die.
Yeah.
That's his superpower.
Guess what? Not only is that metatextually correct, but he's done this before.
He's pulled this shit before. And then we see him on the floor of the Batcave with like his crazy shit that allows him to communicate with Superman via telepathy or some crap.
Or he's plugged into the Matrix.
Yeah, and he's just like, don't die yet. No, we gotta finish this book.
Just give me a couple of Tums.
Well, what are you dying of? You weren't dying.
Dying of being old.
In the previous book, though.
No, he was always searching for a good death in the previous book.
Oh.
And his heart is like gonna give out.
Oh, okay. There were references to
him being old.
Yeah. I'm old.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Miller makes a reference to Midvale Orphanage, which is a reference to a location called Midvale Orphanage in DC Comics history. That's it.
Okay.
Well, and this is the front for genetic experiments. And the heroes go in and they break it free and they reveal them and they're gross, horrible monsters too. And that's it. That's all that happens from that.
That was an idea I had. I want to get it there.
Okay.
Catgirl goes and finds Saturn Girl, who is a member of the Legion of Superheroes in the future, but she's not. This is a girl who is from this present time.
Kelly Catgirl?
Yeah, of course. There's no
Okay.
other Catgirls.
It's just...
different costume.
Why does she change costumes so many times? She was a cheetah, she was a weird Siberian tiger, and now she's a puma?
That's right.
Yeah.
Or she's all those things because sometimes she is wearing gray, but then in another panel she's a cheetah. But
her costume has like it changes color.
Yeah, it's like
Press
camouflage.
a button, she can do, yeah.
But she definitely did lop off the top because now we see her hair. She did not have that before.
Yeah, I want to draw her hair now.
Yeah. Anyway, this is like, there's no reason for this except to foreshadow what's to come because we got to finish this book. And it's that, so Saturn Girl is a member of the Legion of Superheroes in the future, and apparently, like, this girl who exists now is from the present, and she has psychic powers and can look into the future, and she knows that Saturn Girl will be cool with her wearing her Saturn Girl costume, so she does. So Carrie wants to recruit her, and she's excited until she looks into Carrie's future and sees that the Joker is going to kill her, and he hates her the most, and so is so scary that she doesn't join them. And Carrie's like, that's impossible, he's not going to because I killed him myself. Because even though I beat a man near death for killing someone, I also deliberately murdered a man the other day. And it's when they were leaving the concert and they were going back to their lair, the Joker tracked them down dressed like Mr. Mrs. Pitlick. And he took down Ollie, and so Kara uses Ollie's arrows and just destroys him. Just picks him apart, piece by piece, until he's nothing.
Yeah.
She's like,
This is the second time he's died in this book.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. And he, of course, died in the previous book as well.
That's right.
But this is
There's a new book and same character, and he can't die. But she also didn't feel an ounce of regret or remorse and was just like thrilled to do it. I also love this panel of him exploding and his little stupid hat like popping off in a spray of blood. Like, I don't know why. I'm just like, I just actually like the depiction of motion and the actual silhouette. Like, we actually see like the colors used properly for a change.
That's weird.
Also,
not used to that.
Again, here's Plastic Man like using his powers. He's an egg beater, and it's one of the greatest egg beaters I've ever seen drawn in my entire life, and it's a man's face. And in a book,
coming out of his mouth.
And I'm just like, that's friggin' incredible.
Yep.
Then he becomes a toilet and flushes one of them.
Where's he going?
He just goes through them until he spits them out, I guess.
Yeah. It's just the indignity of it.
Yeah.
It's not actually practical.
Yeah.
But he's also like probably bending that man into terrible shapes.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't have bones anymore.
No, Plas kills him. So
Yeah.
this is all happening in Gotham. You wouldn't know because Gotham has no visual identity in this entire series, by the way, unlike the previous
Well,
book,
I
which-
can't tell
What are
where
you
any of this
talking
is
about?
No, it's
happening.
all-
Gotham exists. It's, you know,
I'm saying, no,
a single asylum.
No, yeah,
There's
that's true.
some silhouetted tall buildings
Yeah,
in the
that's
background.
it. That's it.
And they're dark.
But yeah,
And
so
this background, which is just white.
just white is nothing. But yeah, it's just there's riots going on in Gotham, and so the National Guard's going to come in and like just bomb them.
Here's the thing. I'm really bad with drawing backgrounds.
No, you're not.
Yeah, I just don't
couch
want
in a
to.
book where you drew 1,000 of them.
Yeah, I don't really feel like it.
So Superman tries to stop these like helicopters from coming in and laying siege to Gotham, and then just proceeds to blow them to smithereens using his heat vision.
Oh.
This is all part of Batman's plan. Remember,
Superman
they work for
blowing
him.
up these helicopters.
Oh yeah, Superman just starts killing people indiscriminately now.
Cool.
Yeah, you'll see why. So Lara goes to Brainiac's base in Siberia and reveals, she's like, I'm here to submit to you, body and soul, I am yours. And he's like, oh, good, and then proceeds to like,
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, and I'm gonna fill you with nanobots that are gonna tell you what to do, and if you listen to me and work for me, then I'm gonna show you pleasure untold. You're gonna be orgasming all over the place, like your
What?
mom having sky sex. It's gonna be great. And also, Lynn Varley saw The Matrix, so blah, here's some ones and zeros.
Yeah.
So she's like, yeah, okay, let me see Kandor. So he displays it for her, and she hugs it.
Oh, yeah, of course, sure.
Yeah, sure. So he gives it to her, and she grabs onto it. Oh, his like tentacles have all phallically attached to her as well. But she sees it. She's like, oh, they're all so tiny and they don't fly. Why don't they fly? And he's like, oh, I'm bombarding it with red radiation so they can't have their powers. But I keep them reasonably comfortable. I torture them every night, but reasonably. And
It's still 72 degrees in there.
exactly
Year round.
It's nice. It's like San Diego. So she cries, and when she cries, you zoom in on her tear and see that the atom is in her tears. So the atom shrinks down further from her tear, goes subatomic through the glass between the outside and Kandor, goes into Kandor.
Right.
Meanwhile, Superman is just cannonballing through friggin' dive bombers.
It's cool, I guess.
Sure. And is like, damn it, I'm enjoying this. Hoo-hoo, smile. And then we see Lex Luthor is beating the pants off of Batman. Batman bungled a break-in at Luthor's compound, and Luthor easily defeated him and strung him up and is now torturing him. And Batman will look the least dignified he ever looked in the history of his appearances in comic books.
Yep.
With his floppy ears, he looks like Sad Dog Man.
So he's captured off page.
Yes.
And then we get to see him tortured.
Yes.
Cool.
I really
should've
hope he
done
doesn't
this.
carve a Z in my face.
No, it's like, I definitely didn't do this on purpose.
This was not part of the plan.
Yeah, definitely not.
What was the plan?
Oh, it is. This is the plan.
Yeah. But I am helpless. The plan was for me to end up in this situation.
Oh, yeah. So Luthor boasts and talks about weapons they have and practically breaks into a Willy Wonka-esque song, and then talks about Metropolis being destroyed and how he destroyed all the the Superman fortresses and stuff. And and Batman gets Luthor to admit that he killed the Hawk people, and he's like, "Yep, I did that. I'm gonna blow up more of Metropolis and all of Gotham, and it's all going to be destroyed. And I got all these weapons, and then we take a minute for some political discourse. A porn star dressed up like Big Barda, R.I.P. Jack Kirby, and this is the most egregious of a human being we've seen. This is a Muppet.
Yeah,
That is a
yeah,
dinosaur fish person.
That's a sock puppet.
Despite all of this, the fake president's approval rating is through the roof.
I mean, this is very entertaining.
Yes.
Well, and also, post 9/11,
Also accurate to what happened.
so was Bush's. But you see, Ari Fleischer is the most clearly and perfectly depicted character in the entire goddamn book. And, okay, so for those of you who don't remember, Ari was on TV a lot. And what he says here is just like what he basically said back then, which is the president just got to look at his approval rating. He doesn't have to say dick to you media pansies.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yep, that is an interpretation of what he said.
Yeah.
Sadly accurate.
We have a gay joke because let's do that for Hawk and Dove.
Okay.
That's it. Meanwhile, Green Lantern has arrived
Finally.
and he sees Earth and he's like, oh, Earth, the crown jewel of the galaxy, but a jewel not to be touched because all known worlds know not to go near Earth. We don't trust planets that have weapons pointed towards itself. I was like, good line.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Out of nowhere, Brainiac makes little Brainiac ships in Kandor and starts blowing up Kandorian buildings and killing Kandorians. He's just destroying Kandor, and I'm like, what?
That's your leverage.
That's your leverage. What are you doing? Why did you do that? There's no explanation for why he's doing that now. But don't worry about that because the Atom.
I am worried about that.
Yeah, but Atom shows up and he gets big, But like now he's like a colossus in the city of Kandor, and he just crushes all the Brainiacs. It was all part of the plan.
Okay.
Then,
Was that how he was also keeping them in check?
right, I guess he doesn't have to because like they're just people. Like,
Yeah,
they don't have the power.
They're stuck in the bottle.
Yeah,
Yeah, but like even people need to be policed.
that's true.
Yeah, maybe he would
but,
just
he's blowing
randomly-
up like buildings and stuff. I don't know. It just seems like
Yeah, it just seems like you're gonna.
needless- and it's a bottle city. Like you shoot for like 2 minutes, you're gonna blow up every building. It's not a big space,
Yeah.
They rebuild quickly.
Yeah. Meanwhile,
They're like Fraggles.
yeah, they got the doozers. in
doozers.
there. Yeah. So then the skies fill with green, and Lex Luthor is like shitting his pants, and then Batman laughs through his broken, jagged teeth that he lost from his bludgeoning from Luthor. So the whole sky, like all skies around the entire Earth, go green with green flowing energy, and everyone's freaking out. There's actually a reference to Dark Knight Returns in here, where everyone's like, "Oh, it's the end of the world!" And then Miller's like, "Oh, I think I wrote a line about that in the previous book about the end of the world." There's a douche in Dark Knight Returns who Batman like throws him off a horse at one point. Like this guy is just a big jerk, and he steals a gun. And his line when he's like giving his report of like what he did during the riots in Gotham in Dark Knight Returns, he says, "It was the end of the world and I had a gun. Like, what do you think I did?" That kind of thing. And so we have this line where he says, "It's the end of the world," and then someone else goes, "I've got a gun!" And I'm like, "Oh, I remember when you did that." He's like, "But it's a joke now."
Yes. Now it's a joke.
In fact, it's such a joke that we're seeing this green energy over like the pyramids in Egypt, and we're seeing religious leaders reacting to it. Like Elvis is like, "I'm back, baby," and the Pope says, "It's not a rapture," and then Osama bin Laden yells jihad, and then Bugs Bunny off screen goes, "Ah, shut up." Haha.
Who's saying that though? Like in the context of the book?
Oh, like someone else, like just someone nearby. And Miller isn't done talking about Osama bin Laden, so he's going to do another book called Batman Holy Terror. And DC, after seeing all this shit, goes, "You can take Batman off that title. You can do whatever you want with it." And so he made a book called Holy Terror, which literally is just Batman with the serial number filed off.
That might be the best analogy I've ever heard.
So Green Lantern, I guess, like we're seeing a visual interpretation of what he metaphorically or meta-visually does, where he just clamps his hand around the Earth, destroying all of the space lasers. And I guess all the satellites too, so cell phone coverage is over. And I'm like, he didn't need to envelop the entire Earth in green energy. He could have just like flown through them all.
Yeah.
But I guess there's so many.
Well, he could have just like sat back
by doing that,
and then
like,
like
it's-
broadcast like beams.
Yes.
to
It's
pull
one
them all
fell
up.
swoop versus like, trying to fly through each one.
That's
It's going to
true.
take a while.
Well-
They might figure it out and fire some of them.
And he also like doesn't want to stay.
Right.
I got to get back to my frog wife.
That's what he says. He goes, "It'd be a kick to stick around a while, but I'm due back home." I'm like, "Yeah, you've been here 10 seconds. You might as well go back."
Also, Green Lantern can do that. He can get huge, like bigger than the Earth.
Oh yeah, well because Miller put in the text, he used to need a lantern, now he is one.
Oh yeah, he did say that.
So that,
don't know what
that
that
explains
means.
everything. He got so powerful.
He became so powerful.
Luther realizes like, oh, my lasers are offline. You did this on purpose, didn't you? When he turns around, Batman has been freed by the Flash, and they're just showing how fast it was that Flash did that because Flash is like reading, and he's old, so he's got little reading glasses, and Batman's having tea. This is actually a really great panel. I love this panel.
Fun. Yeah.
And Batman goes, oh, heads up, your window's about to explode and you're about to die. And then the window explodes, and Hawkboy shows up with a Stanagarian mace, and right before he kills Lex Luthor says, you little shit, do you know who I am? It just pulls a King Karen move, and then his head explodes. And Batman's like, way to go, kid, yeah, that was awesome! And
Isn't it great killing people without guns?
yeah, and Barry goes, Jesus, Bruce.
Showing that Frank does have some self-awareness.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, Batman's going a little nuts here.
Right? Lara, in the clutches of Brainiac, heats her body temperature up so hot that she burns and melts and destroys all the nanobots in her system, so now she's freed. And she's like, I'm gonna kill you. And Brainiac's like, please. Like, your heat vision, you'd need like 10 of you to even hurt me. And Lara goes, wherever will I find 10 like me? And then a giant fist of the Atom blasts through the captivity of the Kandorian shield. All of the Kandorians blast out, now exposed with solar radiation from Earth. The Atom jumps into one of the Kandorians, so he's shielded.
Right.
And then
right.
they all just fly into Lara's eyes and join their heat vision with hers and blow the Brainiac monster and his entire base to smithereens.
Oh.
It is. I love this sequence so much, and it makes me so angry how much I like certain things from this.
Yeah.
This whole sequence of like the trap is sprung. I'm like, yeah, that's
Yeah.
kind of awesome.
Yep. It is cool.
Oh my God! I know how to get 17 pages in 3 pages.
Boom! And by the way, this is also, I think, maybe Miller is saying something about the previous book. Where the whole thing is broken up into grids. It's all really broken down into panels. Maybe Miller is responding to criticism. I don't remember much lobbed at him about how he's using a freewheeling style that's broken free of the bondage of his original constrictions. I don't remember that much, but he could have read it at some point and stuck in his craw. And so he's like, oh, you like my grids, huh? You like little panels, do ya? Well, I'll give you little panels. And it's like, no, you just forgot. You just ran out of pages.
Yep.
And this is the last part. Everyone hates this, so you will not get any more leeway. They're not going to be like, oh, yeah, we'll add another issue.
No, you're done, man.
No, you're done. You're going to fit one more issue worth of shit.
Because you don't have another book's worth of stuff.
No, you have a third of a book, maybe.
Yeah, we're not putting out a little snippet.
Yeah, so Batman takes a victory lap after Lex Luthor's decapitation or head crushing. And he gets a call from Carrie, who's like, hey, boss, I'm going to die. I love you. And so he tries to get to her, and he uses his afterburners to fly back to the cave. Meanwhile, she's being cut up by the Joker character, who's now dressed like Robin. And by the way, a very specific Robin. He's dressed like Burt Ward Robin. Carrie's monologue is horrifying, where she's like, he's breaking me. Bone by bone, he's killing me cut by cut. He cuts my face bad. And I'm like, there's the Frank Miller I know. I know those lines.
Yeah.
He hurt me. He hurt me real bad. So anyway, Joker says to him, he loves you, the daughter he never had. Well, I'm going to skin you alive. And Batman says, the hell you will, from the shadows. Alfred, command destruct code zap biff pow. Again.
Yep.
We're just yeah, we get it. You don't like the Adam West stuff.
Yep.
And Joker counters with, abort sequence code Kit Newmar Craig. Of course.
Eartha Kitt.
Earth Kit, Julie Newmar.
Ignored.
invalid.
Yeah, code invalid. The code was changed, and Batman's like, so it's you. And I'm like, you didn't know? How could you have not known?
You're Batman. You should know. Although he never saw him.
No, that's true. He never really interacts with him.
He doesn't even know this is happening.
So he says, I changed the abort code the night I fired you, Dick Grayson. So he changes back into Robin. He goes, you were always so damn smart. So then it's just unhinged. Batman's his suit doesn't fit him anymore. He's just this tiny man, his floppy ears, and he's bouncing around. He's hanging upside down, going oh, calling Robin nicknames like Dondi and Peach. And you're like, what the fuck? What is happening?
What?
Like, the irony of ironies of Batman saying, now you're pathetic and just plain weird looking is just completely not lost on me because Batman looks insane.
Right.
But also, this is like one of the few times you actually see Batman in a Batman suit in this entire friggin' 3-part book, and he looks like a goddamn joke.
Yes.
And it's like, yeah, it is. On me for buying it. So, you know.
Yeah. So I guess he's projecting
Yeah.
this image with the technology he used before.
But we can't trust the colors in this book!
Yeah, but it looks like
It looks
it's
like
blue,
the
like he
hologram.
was, yeah.
Because he's actually more solidly colored later, so it could be. This is a hologram. But remember, Batman can only cast the hologram via the little something he put into
that's
Superman's
true.
ear. But
That's
it's
true.
also his cave. He could have holograms all over the shit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, let's say it is a hologram. And it
'Cause-
buys him some time by tormenting Robin.
Right.
That makes a lot of sense, actually. I kind of like that.
Yeah, because he's talking about, like, I gotta buy her time. I gotta buy her time. Oh, and he's plugging the things in. Look,
Oh my
he's
God,
plugging
you're
the
right.
things
He's
in.
he's-
And then the next time you see him, he's all like,
He's a fucking CG con.
Yeah.
It's like he appears. Like
Yeah.
he manifests.
yep.
Oh my God.
Look at that. Still learning stuff.
23 years.
But you couldn't tell, right? Which is a huge failing of the book. Like,
No, it's true.
Because it's a little teeny panel, and it happens like for half a second. He's plugging the things in. That's the only way you know. And the art is so like indecipherable. Ugh.
Yeah, there's 30 panels on this one page.
Yeah. So he's only shows up, I think, here.
Yes, to cut off his head.
And then he's like, now I'm here.
Yeah. Well, and also Ralph is there, and Ralph recovers Carrie and takes her away.
Mm.
And of course, the self-destruct sequence is not bombs. Actually, Wayne Manor was built on top of a dormant volcano. And Batman set off a bunch of bombs that activate the volcano.
What?
And cause the volcano to erupt. So everything's about to be enveloped in volcanic lava.
He's not just going to have the dinosaur eat everybody?
No, the dinosaur was
Superman
destroyed.
destroyed that
Superman destroyed
dinosaur.
it. He
No, he
punched
destroyed
through
the
its
penny.
head.
No,
No,
he
he also
destroyed-
destroyed the
he
dinosaur. It
blasted
happened
the
in one panel. He
dinosaur's mouth.
shot through its head.
Yeah. The floor opens up underneath Robin's feet. He plummets. He catches himself on some rocks, and then Batman shows up with a tiny hatchet and chops off Robin's head, which flies off. And Robin, unfortunately, catches it because he went through what he refers to as radical gene therapy.
Oh, that's why he was killed and comes back.
Yes,
Yeah.
and why he can change his appearance. Like he can physically manifest as anything.
Yep.
But this is where Robin, reveals, of course, like I loved you.
Right.
Batman's like, yeah, well, too bad, and like.
Yeah, but it's like, wait, what happened between
What?
them?
Because in Dark Knight Returns, the only thing we get is that they don't talk. There's some pseudo-sexual tension between Batman and Carrie, and I think Robin's screaming that he would have done anything for him and loves him in a hypersexualized book about superheroes
Right.
means that we need to infuse some not gays into Batman because he's like, nope, Batman and Robin are not gay. I'm gonna chop your head off and drop you in lava, and now I'm gonna get with my 16-year-old girlfriend. That's how not gay I am. It could be, or it's just sad. I mean, either way, it's sad, but in one way, it's also a problem. But so he puts his head back on and he goes, "You're breaking my heart. Let's die." And then grabs Robin and just dives into the lava and says, "This would be a grand death." And I'm like, "Oh, like in the better one."
Except this is not a grand death.
Yeah, well, no.
I mean,
but
the
it
image
would
of,
have been.
the image of Batman and Robin falling to death is like kind of iconic.
Yeah.
Depicted horribly. Like, look at the hatchet
'cause-
and how they just went, "Oh, right, there's blood." And Lynn's like, "Okay, meh."
Yeah, just
That sucks. So,
yeah, he's plummeting into lights.
yeah, right, it's lava. So as they plummet, Batman says, "Now," and then Superman recovers him and lets Robin fall into the lava. Of course, Batman also loses a boot in the process because how fast it went. Because we need to make Batman look like more of a fucking idiot.
Yeah, he's got to lose a shoe.
Like, look at my fucking foot.
Don't forget, Batman kind of sucks.
He's the smartest man alive.
Yeah,
But he's also kind of a dork.
yeah. You don't really want to idolize him.
So Robin dies.
Yep.
He burns alive and then melts like the T-1000.
Yeah, like regenerate from that.
That's what he says. He's like, I grow back. And he's like, not if there's nothing left to grow back from. So then, the Flash puts bunny ears behind Donald Rumsfeld. And, the idea being that, like, now that Lex and Brainiac are dead, the government is handed back to the people, and the people who run it are still asshole clowns.
Yeah.
But the superheroes are here now. And even though they're not going to take over, they are going to make them look stupid in front of the TV. Because of Superman's resurgence, people have formed like a religion around him. And The government's declared war on superheroes, but the superheroes are too powerful to have any regulation anyway, so they're a laughingstock. That's to say the U.S. government's a laughingstock.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, Lara and Superman are outside the Earth, and Superman says, "What exactly shall we do with our planet, Lara?" As if to imply that, like, we've given up on this pretense that, like, I'm a human being, that I follow your rules.
Right,
like,
that I respect, like, the freedom of humanity.
That's so stupid.
Yeah.
Actually, you people are now my subjects.
Right.
And don't piss off my daughter, because she's kind of a psycho.
She's like this close to taking you all over.
Right. She is one Garth Ennis guest spot away from annihilating a country.
Yeah. When I say what are we gonna do with our planet, I mean our planet that is our responsibility to protect.
Yes.
And she's like, oh, we own this.
Yes. So then, as if to, like, wrap things up with a neat little bow on your enjoyment of my original tome, the entire Batcave is enveloped in lava, and Carrie laments its loss, saying things like, "You're blowing up all your stuff. Everything that makes you who you are." And Batman says, "It's nothing, it's junk. You're like a robot dinosaur, for goodness sake." And she says, "It's your history, it's your whole history." And he goes, "Just souvenirs. I was sentimental back when I was old." In the worst image of Batman you've ever seen. Like uplighting, inglorious,
broken teeth,
emasculated ears, like flaccid, limp ears. It's just like, what?
Yeah, well, I was sentimental when I was home.
Yeah, like he would sound like that. He'd have whistles, like.
Yeah.
But like, you're gonna take the last page just to say, like, oh, by the way, the fact that you were excited about this at all makes you an asshole. The joke's on you. I have $1 million.
Right.
And DC made $4 million. Like, bite me.
So, I guess the message here is, like, don't be sentimental. Don't, like, be precious about your characters.
That could
like,
be.
Let them look inglorious and, like, shitty.
Yeah, I mean, certainly Miller was never precious with any of the heroes in this book.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, he could be saying, like, enjoy the freedom that these characters afford.
Yeah, like, do crazy shit like this.
Yeah, try it. Don't be afraid to make it silly.
I think Alan Moore would love this. He'd probably look at this and be like, yeah, look what he did to Batman.
I doubt it.
He's all torn up and,
because I think
losing his teeth.
It's funny because he looks like a stupid joke. I don't know if Alan Moore would like this. I wonder, I mean, I don't know.
It's very, like, artistic in that it adheres to no conventions.
That's true. And it's not, it's both deliberate and not. Like, you could tell he goes in a direction and then changes direction immediately.
Yeah.
But also, he decries sentimentality while immortalizing 9/11.
That's a different kind of sentimentality.
I don't know. I actually didn't look it up, and I should have, what Grant Morrison's thoughts on this book are. Because I can imagine, it's like, this is as good as anything you do. Like, that's what Miller would say. It's like, what do you mean? It's subversive, and it's counterculture. It's silly. It embraces the Silver Age.
Yeah.
But
it's got something to say as well.
Yeah.
It talks about, like, millennials, like, inheriting the world and being the hope for the future or some shit at the end here.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, you can get whatever you want out of it, really.
Right.
Because there's characters saying all different perspectives.
Right, and
like,
you can't say that I'm a right-winger because I also made fun of Reagan in the previous book.
Yeah, and I make fun of the question here.
These characters as well, yeah.
Everyone who believes in something is stupid.
I mean, certainly this book helped me become less precious with my icons. Like, this certainly helped to contribute to the formation of the show.
Yeah, so you get it.
I mean, like, so...
This guy gets it.
Oh, no, I don't! So, okay.
Yeah, no, this guy loves Dark Knight Strikes Back.
Yeah. Again.
Whatever.
So, what do you think, gentlemen? Like, I think there's something here.
There's something here.
I thought, okay, so I remember giving you a minute to think. I thought that there was more here that was contemporary and relevant than there actually is. Having revisited, I can say, no. It is cemented in a period in time.
Yeah, it's
just the same
very-
way that any other piece of counterculture literature attempts to be, prognosticating.
Yeah.
How
But-
do you write a sequel to the last Batman story?
Exactly, because that's what Dark Knight Returns is, right?
Yeah,
right.
It is, even though Batman doesn't technically die at the end of the story, it is the last Batman story. That is how it ends.
Yeah, and then someone's like, do it again!
Yeah. For 20 years. Do it again!
I mean, I want the money!
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you do. Now, that here's the thing. In 96, he tried again, 10 years later. And it was only because Archie couldn't help him. Mm-hmm. How different would that book be? I'd say 100% drastically. I mean, from the fact that 9/11 happens to the Bush administration to the debates between Gore and Bush in the first place, like just the proliferation of cable news post 1999,
the Dixie Chicks would
here's
not
the
be
question.
in there.
Hell no. Yeah.
96.
Right?
96 is big, like, after Image is strong and is throwing out things.
That's true.
Would the art have been different?
Oh yeah.
Well, the art would have been
It
different.
wouldn't have been
no
like
matter what.
this.
There's
He
no
was still working
question.
on it. I mean, he was still making comics, so you could probably pinpoint what it would have looked like. And the colors wouldn't have been as grotesque,
Oh yeah, no, the colors would
as
have been
garish as they are.
more traditional, probably.
traditional, certainly.
What was happening politically? Was Monica Lewinsky like occurring
Yes.
in
It
'96?
was OJ. It was Monica Lewinsky.
Yeah, that definitely would have been in here.
Oh yeah, there would have
No
been like a
question.
superhero pursuit. The Batmobile's going down the 405, and we're in hot pursuit, and Green Arrow's in the back seat. Oh no. People would have been like, what?
You know what's funny though? There is a Rodney King reference in this, and that
Yes.
would have been in the
That would've-
earlier
yeah,
one,
but it
and that's
wouldn't-
probably why it's in here, because he wanted to reference it in 1996.
I view the Rodney King reference as more a joke akin to the Rodney King reference in Airheads,
Yes.
as opposed to it being a
yeah,
legitimate.
yeah.
No, because he is not fighting for civil rights in that story. He is
Correct.
attacking people because he's mad that he was put in an egg for 10 years.
And Plastic Man is yelling, Rodney King,
He's
Rodney
not
King.
black.
I
Is
think-
there value?
Yeah, so I think there's some value. I think it's an incoherent mess. I think
yeah.
it's overly long. I think he didn't.
Despite the fact there's only 3 issues.
It's only 3 issues, but like
They
the
did add
whole
pages.
the whole middle issue is like pointless.
Oh yeah. Well, he abandons it in the third.
Yeah, and then you like you get rid of what you were doing anyway, and it's not clear you knew what you were doing in the middle.
I would like to know what he was going to do or what he was thinking he was going to do.
Yeah, I
So-
assume the ending is roughly similar to what it would have been.
More rushed. I think that.
Yeah, it's
I
definitely
think
more rushed.
He probably would have dedicated. I bet no 9/11.
Well, he spent all these pages on the 9/11
Yeah,
stuff, so like
but,
that was supposed
no
to be
9/11
content.
and all those 30 panels of Robin and Batman.
Yeah,
would
that
have
would have
been
been
pages.
Yeah, like 3 pages maybe instead of or like 6 pages instead of 2.
Yeah.
That definitely would have been different. And it's so funny because you have all those like crazy panels like crunched in, and then the very next page
wide
is like a
open.
huge like
What do you?
like you go from this
Yeah.
density to like this.
Right.
Because like gotta show this giant blob of nothing.
Yeah, we got. Yeah, why
Like,
need to dedicate it to something you didn't even
what is
draw?
this?
That's not. That's just a color effect.
like he just put a big square in.
Yeah.
And then gave
Yeah.
it to his wife to like put some art in.
Fill that in.
Make it an underground volcano.
And like, what am I even looking at?
It could be the explosion of Brainiac. It could be the fire from the Kandorians in Kara and Lara, because that's when Lara is like friggin' from the Lilliputians where they're all like carrying her away.
Oh yeah, yeah. And those are huge drawings. You could have put more Batman Robin stuff in there.
Yeah.
You know, made these a little bit smaller.
No, it's weird because like only the Batman and Robin stuff is like in tiny compact panels. Maybe because that's like that's the grounded Batman stuff. You know, the unkillable gene therapy Joker Robin.
Yeah, whose head he cuts off and he grabs his head and puts it back,
Puts back on.
on.
Goes. Like he's a goddamn Jack in the Box.
You know, interestingly though, there's an allusion to that in the previous version of Robin, where he is Mrs. Plitnick.
Yes.
Who is like this crazy like character who can do anything. Where
That's
he's like,
true.
oh, he's getting kind of more
Powerful.
close to like what he is, which is this like insanely powerful character.
That's true. Yeah.
So like,
Right, but why?
well,
You know,
I'm not sure.
Right, yeah.
Why is it Dick Grayson at all? Because you have to have a Joker there, and that'd be the most fucked up thing. It could be if
yeah.
it was Dick.
Right. Yeah. Well, it would be more.
But
messed
like,
up if
why
it
would
was
his char-
Jason?
Well, yeah, that's true.
But I have a problem with Dick Grayson. Well, because Burt Ward was Dick Grayson. That's
Yeah.
why. Because that was stupid.
Yes.
Like it's
Well,
almost. like
Jason's
he's
not
saying,
even. Is Jason even in the Miller Batman
Jason
verse?
is in the middle. Yeah.
Oh, he
yeah.
is, okay.
No, actually, right like 2 years before they kill Jason Todd, that display of the Robin costume in the cave in Dark Knight Returns didn't exist in main continuity. It was in Dark Knight Returns, and then when they killed Jason, they did it in the real books.
Oh, interesting.
I was like, oh shit.
Okay.
This is very much a split story of like Superman being like, I've been a government bitch the whole time.
Yeah.
What do I do?
Yeah, it's how Superman gets his groove back. Like
Yeah.
that's what
Yeah.
that story. The main because does Batman go through an arc in the story? He technically does, but we don't spend a lot of time on it.
Does he go through an arc? No. Does he get things accomplished? Yes.
Well, yeah, but like he also learns at the end that he shouldn't even care about being Batman.
No, he's still Batman. He's just like, I don't need my stuff.
Right, or Batman isn't all the crap. Batman is not my continuity.
Yeah. There's also some torch passing because like the idea that Batman goes with is Carrie Kelly's idea.
Yeah.
And similarly, Superman is like rescued and redeemed by his daughter. So there's a clear theme of like the young people are
The future.
the future and our salvation.
Yes.
Yeah.
is a-
So long as these old people also still get to like run things with them.
Yeah, well, that was
Well-
also, that's a distinctly millennial book then. Where the previous guard refuses to retire or give up any of their possessions and allow the previous generation, the next generation to ascend.
Yeah.
Like, well, before you do, let me set everything on fire first.
Yeah. It's like young people will save the world, but like we're still here and you should probably still listen to us sometimes.
Yeah, and also we will make it so you can't actually take over any element of infrastructure, so you can't actually evoke any change in the world.
Yeah.
But you're in charge, though.
And the thing that would allow them to actually like ascend to a position of power, like Batman dying at the end.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we're not gonna let that
We're not
happen.
gonna do that. That would be outrageous.
Also, no one in this universe like that's new can really affect change. We're just gonna get all the old people back.
Yeah.
Well, so Lara defeats Brainiac,
Yes,
right? So she does save the day.
that's true.
Carrie Kelly's idea is what Batman goes with to defeat Lex.
That's
Yes,
true.
although
but
she doesn't contribute to it.
she frees Ray.
Yep. And Plastic Man. Well,
And
they all
Plastic-
they all
yeah,
free
they all
him.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then she goes to see Saturn Girl and says, "Hey, you want to help us?"
And she's like, sure, wait, no.
No.
Yeah, and that's it.
The end.
That's
well,
all.
that's there for the foreshadowing of the part he wanted to put at the end, which was Batman saving her from being killed by the Joker.
Like
'cause
his old...
Yes, because he wanted his previous person to be jealous of her because of her relationship with Bruce.
Yeah.
And so he had to do that, and so he had to put her in that position.
Yeah. That's right. That's right.
It doesn't really go with the rest of it. That's where I mean, it's like
it's
it's
muddled.
incoherent.
Yeah.
That's there's a lot of ideas.
A lot of ideas.
And they don't really work all together.
They don't, and it's weird because like you had plenty of time to arrange them. It's not like this was like a surprise.
Right.
You weren't sprung on this.
No.
You could have thought, I don't know if I have a clear idea yet.
Yeah.
It wasn't like you were trying to hit an anniversary or pay your rent.
I mean, the 9/11 thing definitely messed with the rhythm,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Because
Well,
he was
that-
clearly building to the Joker thing in the previous book, which is kind of similar to Dark Knight Returns.
Yes.
Where the Joker only comes into play, towards the end, like from the middle towards the end is the Joker story.
Yeah.
So you could see that like maybe that was happening here, but the entire flow gets disrupted with the start of the third book.
Yeah.
And then he has to shoehorn in the end of the Joker story. I'd like to think maybe there'd be a little bit more, maybe a couple more
I would have to
full
assume.
pages.
Well, maybe if you scaled back a couple of pages of Sky Sex, you would have room.
Is it as atrocious as I remember? No. But it's not that much better.
No, that's true. And it's still worse than All-Star Batman and Robin the Boy Wonder because that book looks amazing
Yeah.
through and through.
You can tell what's happening.
50% of the book is great.
It has more iconic lines.
There's more infamous lines.
That's true. I think there are better. This has better lines. There's better dialogue in this than in All-Star Batman and Robin the Boy Wonder. But
It's not as memorable.
oh no.
It's definitely not as memorable.
Oh no. I'm actually disappointed that there isn't that in this as well.
Yeah.
But it does stop that series. It just
Yeah.
Jim Gordon calls his ex-girlfriend and then asks her about her day. The end.
The end.
Did you know that Tom King was hired to write the rest of it.
What?
Yep. They went to him and they were like, hey, how would you like to finish All-Star Batman and Robin the Boy Wonder?
What?
Yep.
Do you just laugh at them?
No, he was down. They were going to do it.
What happened?
It just, that's as much of the story as I know. That's
When?
all. Tom was on the show. He actually said it on one of our podcasts. And then he was like, and maybe one day I'll tell you why it doesn't exist.
Oh my god.
And I'm like, well, please do.
Yeah, but why would he want to?
I think for the same reason I would want to.
What could you possibly do with it?
I don't know. I don't know where Frank would go with it. There it is.
There it is.
Dark Knight strikes again. And didn't he just? And then there's 2 more. I love that there are 2 more. I because it's just so silly and weird. Like they make this amazing book that is arguably controversial, and people are now 30, 40 years removed from it, bold enough to say it's not that great. Because
Yeah, we were saying that 10 years ago.
No. Dark Knight 1. Like,
Dark Knight 1, yeah.
Oh, Dark Knight 1.
Yeah,
Well, Dark Knight 1's still great.
Yeah.
You get Dark Knight 1, which, it's frustrating you have to call it that. Like, Dark Knight Returns is just like, it's the seminal piece of Batman iconography and history, and it changes everything. And that's the other thing is that, like, it changed everything.
Yeah.
And then 20 years later, they're like, do a sequel to that thing that arguably made comics kind of worse. It fixed it saved Batman, or also irrevocably changed Batman as a character.
Mm-hmm.
But also, it created thousands of imitators and pushed comic books in a weird direction.
Yeah.
And
A weird and gross direction.
yeah, and now we're here where we're also at another like weird crossroads with comics in like the year 2000, and Marvel just went bankrupt a couple of years ago. Like things are completely different, and Hollywood is invading our space. Kevin Smith is literally next door writing Green Arrow. Like, could you also do a sequel to that talks about culture and comics somehow? And also divorce yourself from the knowledge that what you do will be scrutinized to the same degree that the thing you wrote previously that you're sequelizing is and always will be? No, I can't. How about it's dumb? I'll take my check now.
Well, we
Worked
made
it.
$4 million, so...
Oh, no, it worked.
Fair.
That's only going to work
Once.
Yeah.
Dark Knight 3, The Master Race, they tried. They were like, oh, we're going to make boatloads of cash.
We'll get Frank back on it.
Yep, and they did. And he signed his name on it, and arguably didn't write a damn thing in it. But it is drawn well, and we do have a statue from that book on the set. But then they made another one that I like more, which is more weird and more Frank. It does have incredible art. Also not by Frank. This one's by Raphael Grandpa. But yeah. And that one's more like this, but
we
also weird.
do that one?
We did, yeah. It is friggin' bizarre.
The 4th one.
The 4th one.
I'm keeping this going. I don't know why. What do you think we're supposed to get from this page when he says, what exactly shall we do with our planet, Lara? Is that supposed to be, are you supposed to be like afraid? Is that supposed to be like vaguely sinister? Or is that supposed to be like comforting or hopeful?
If it were written by anyone else, it would be sinister. You are meant to trust Superman, even though Superman is also supposed to have learned a lesson that was honor your father and mother, but don't deify their values. You are not a human being. You are theoretically better, and you need to step up.
Right,
Like
by
the heroes
not-
need to be involved.
By not being an active element in the world, you are like hurting people by not helping them.
Yes, and by not doing more. Like it's
Like
not
you've-
enough to put out fires.
Yeah, you've hidden on Themyscira for a long time.
Yeah.
You need to be a part of this world and help direct how it goes.
Yep. And you waited so long that you really don't get to say what happens anymore. But thankfully you had a kid and she will do it for you. And we're just going to have to live with the consequences of that because she's a friggin' lunatic. Or at least she will be depicted as one in Dark Knight 3: The Master Race, when it will be revealed that the Kandorians are actually by a horribly sinister cult, and they will indoctrinate Lara and cause untold death and destruction.
Right. So now you could look at that as Frank's, feeling of, okay, I had this like hope for the future with, this new generation, but 10 years down the road or however long, it hasn't really worked out. So let me like kind of explain that
Yeah.
as like, okay, so sometimes people go wrong.
Right.
You know, and they need some guidance to be brought back maybe on the right path.
Yeah.
I mean, he's definitely
But
in
I don't
all
think,
his
but
works.
don't forget, Frank didn't write that story.
That's true, but it is Millerian in that
Yes.
it is like reflecting a feeling of what's happening now.
True.
Right, and it is also clearly a continuation of the characters from this book.
Yeah.
Though going in different directions than you might have expected.
Yeah.
Although in Laura's case, actually not that different.
Maybe not, yeah. And there you have it, everybody. Dark Knight Strikes Again. Again. We did it. We'll see you guys next time with another episode. I'm Sal.
I'm Ethan.
I'm Ben.
Keep reading.
When you say we'll see you next time, we're not doing this again,
I think
are
we're
we?
good. I think we've exhausted it. You know, the next time we talk about Dark Knight Strikes Again, it'll be in an interview with Frank Miller. Like, that'll be the last time I talk about this book will be with Frank on a show, and we're just going to put the final word on it. But I feel like this is pretty good.
Yeah.
Because that's not going to happen. So we'll just
Nah.
Oh, we'll just talk to his AI.
Yeah.
Yeah, someone will make an AI of him.
Oh, yeah.
Probably not that hard.
I don't think so. I don't think anybody's going to bother. But there you go. Oh, yeah.
No, we're done.
No,
Yeah, we already said it. Yeah.
Oh, it's been said.
Well, it's been said.
Yeah.
Yay!
Oh, that really was set the tone for the book.
Yeah.
It's just a big no.
Big no.